Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic, and welcome to the 7th Annual Raven Awards, the award show where you, the people, get to choose your nominees and your winners, and where we actively boycott a little show known as the Oscars, because, hey, the Oscars are just downright awful these days. So apologies for the delayed start. A shout out to core member over on Twitter/X for the Ravens intro that was added on there. And I apologize for, again, being late. Technology was not on my side this evening. Was trying to use a different streaming app. Thought I had everything figured out. That is not the case at all. And then ran into a bunch of other issues in addition to being sick. So thank you all for those that have been reaching out, checking to see if I was okay. Starting on Friday midday, I started feeling a lot of achiness all the way through FNT. It was getting worse and worse and worse. And then the night after FNT, it was abysmal. Woke up several times. It was awful. I had to go to urgent care the following day. Got a steroid shot. That didn't help. Ended up having a situation where I almost passed out, not because of the needle, but because of just standing up. That's how in bad shape I was. So I was literally bedridden all day yesterday. This day, I was able to walk around, do a lot of stuff, but because I don't know exactly how contagious I am, I wasn't really able to lift my kids, which, if anyone has had kids, especially young ones, like 1.5 and 4, is a very difficult thing to do. Luckily, my parents are in town this weekend, so that's definitely been a big help for the wifey. But it's been tough in general. And of course, my entire Friday and Saturday were essentially taken from me. And so because of that, had very little time to get stuff put together. But I did not want to cancel the show, did not want to delay the show any further than what I had to. And though there are definitely a couple of other extra things I really wish I could have added into this production, we're going to make do with what we have. And so, again, I want to thank you all for being here. We had a lot of people voting. We had a lot of trolling this time around. I can't tell you how many fake votes I had to delete because they were literally submitted in sequence, a second, and a second apart. So that was fun to get through. Luckily, all of it got saved into a Google Sheets, which means even though I had to delete a lot of votes on the actual Google form in order to clear the rolls of the fake votes. We don't count fake votes here, okay? We're not like California or one of those other crazy states. No. We count only the real, authentic votes here from real voters. And so that was a fun thing to experience. But again, very thankful for Google Sheets being able to create charts because we love charts here on OMB Reviews. And we can't have an award show without charts. We can't have a stream without charts. So no one's missed the stream. We have a late start here today. And again, I do apologize for the late start, but we are now live on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble. We might be live over on X. It's very hard to tell. The whole X producer media thing is really poorly put together. I don't know exactly why it's so difficult to get a live stream set up over there. They make it a lot more complicated than what it actually should be. But anyway, let's go ahead and say hello to just a few people in the chat. It's going to be a little bit different tonight because we got some awards to bequeath to people. There's going to be some surprises tonight, everybody. When I was putting the awards together, when I was seeing what films, what people were actually winning tonight, I was actually very surprised. A lot of films that I did not pick, a lot of films that were not my choices ended up winning. There were a couple, of course, I was happy to see. But let's just say there are going to be some surprises tonight. There's definitely going to be some that are very easy to spot. Couple of videos to show you as well. I tried to make it so that there was some video, not too much video. For instance, our first category of the evening will be Best One-Liner. We have a video of the winner of that category. Also, Best Fight Sequence. We have a clip of that one also. And so we'll start off with Best One-Liner in just a bit. But let's continue to say hello to the people in the chat. But after I get through as many as I can, we will get things started. Not to leave any further ado, and also because I don't know how long I will be able to go on stream tonight, and if my voice will hold up, because I, again, am still trying to get through this. So if I start coughing throughout the evening, I'll try and mute if I can. Like that time, for instance. Couldn't have timed it more perfectly if I could. So anyway, let's get to this. So Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, what's going on, Gary Banjo Sandwich, saying, let's go Wavens. Yes, indeed. We got Bruce hanging out in the chat. Hail to you, Bruce. We got Mr. Roy, who is very excited to be here. Michael V. Media in the chat. Wendy Hunter, Wendy, saying, hail, hello, and let's go bowling. Yes, so that was the other thing. I was only able to grade a few of the forms that were submitted for the Oscars bowling, so I will unfortunately have to delay announcing winners for that. We will do a giveaway for that still. Do not worry. Your votes will not be in vain. If you want to keep along and make guesses on what your final score is, if you kept track of where you ranked things and what winners you chose, feel free to. But I will get the official tallies done and also the official movie choices available. Of course, one of the available films I can say for sure is Constantine on 4K Steelbook, and also The Forbidden Kingdom on 4K Steelbook. This one just came in today, so don't worry. We will definitely get those taken care of, because I know how hard it was to fill those forms out. All 13 of you who filled them out. I think technically 12, because one was an extra one. But we will take care of that. But again, I do apologize. Time ran away from me today, and I do appreciate y'all understanding. But we'll get there. Wendy Hunter, thank you for also being a citizen of Asgard. Appreciate you continuing to support the channel. We got the man with orange hat. Remember to keep it civil in here, folks. No slapping people over jokes. Yes, indeed. We keep things civil. Jeremy Zakowski, evening Odin. I'm here, and let's get this show on the road. Agreed. Late night non-Oscarness. Absolutely. Absolutely. We do things in our own time. Screw the Oscars. The Oscars start at 7. We're going to start at like 7:20-ish. Screw the Oscars. Seriously. By the way, we do like to keep Oscars chat to a minimum, because we are trying to boycott it. Obviously, we can't control everybody. We're not going to force you out. We're not going to ban you from the chat if you, for any reason, want to talk about the Oscars, but let's just say it will not be looked kindly upon here. We got Shorty Short. Thank you very much. She is the Mother Major General, hanging out in the chat tonight. A $20 donation via Streamlabs. Appreciate you. YouTube ain't getting none of that. Laura goes on to say, thanks for hosting this always fun stream. Feel better. Well, thank you very much, Laura. Thank you for being here as a mod, for being always so supportive, being here from the very early days of the channel. You and of course, my other mod, my king mod, I would have to say, in the man with the orange hat. It's always great for y'all to be in here. Coliseum Builders, get out of here with that nonsense. The Oscars are tonight. That's why we're boycotting them. That's why we're going up against them in this modern day and age. Icthulu, what's going on? Cocaine Bear is snubbed once again, but I will keep voting until it earns the recognition it deserves. Can't make it happen, man. Sorry, we don't retroactively give awards here. That's just not how it works. We got Carl Jacobs in the chat. Hail to you. Thank you again for understanding. Appreciate it, Orange Chat. You and Laura, always phenomenal. We got the R hanging out. What's going on? Wendy Hunter. I didn't keep mine saved. Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I have them all, so I will definitely get those announced. I'll also say right now that tomorrow's stream will not happen since my parents are in town, and I will need to recover tomorrow night. So no stream tomorrow, but we will have a stream the following Monday, and that's when we will have our official Who Won the Ravens Bowling. Gets to extend the Ravens season a little bit longer as well, unintentionally, of course. Forever Sci-Fi, hail all. Hail to you, Forever Sci-Fi. We got J.S. Pena. Hail to you. Thank you for being here. We got Kimberly G. Shadow Cat. Howdy, everybody. Am I the only nerd that printed my form? I love that you printed your form, Kimberly G. It makes me feel like this is much more of an official show. John Evan, Retro Guy Bear. What's going on, John Evan? Hail to you. Wouldn't it be amazing if Gary was the one stepping in? No. Nope. Coliseum Builders, welcome. The Morak, hail to you. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate it. Let's see. Raichu, let's get the party started. Absolutely. JS Pena, I mean, I don't have my hair, so I did love the chats there. By the way, thank you for appreciating the tuxedo shirt. I couldn't find this thing for years, and then I knew it was very small, because I was a much smaller size when I first got it. It's still very small, but luckily the jacket helps to kind of cover that part up. But it is fun to be here. I hope my movie wins big tonight, Kinkin Rumsky. I don't know which movie that is. Fear of FEMA. Hail to you. All right, let's just say some hellos, and then let's get through this faster. Kimberly G, I'm sorry, I just get so distracted. Let's see. Lee Mitchell hanging out. What's going on? Vestige hanging out. Let's see. Go Time from Wendy Hunter. Yes, I try to avoid having crazy long intros if I can. I do try to keep it within reason. Hello, says Raichu, Mr. Roy again. Hello. I need a top hat. Wouldn't that be amazing? I just wouldn't wear it anywhere else, though. Oscars have become unworthy. Indeed, they have. Nice talk. Nice talks. Funny thing, this is actually from a premiere of The Disaster Artist. So if you've ever read the book about the making of The Room by Greg Sestero, the movie that they made off of that, this is actually a shirt I got from, it was, I think I got this shirt for free, actually, because at the premiere, they were giving away some stuff. So I ended up getting one. It was awesome. Wendy Hunter saying, looking spiffy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gotta always, again, we take things seriously here, guys. We do. Did my ballots successfully go through? I remember seeing your email on there. So yes, I've not counted them yet. As I mentioned earlier, I was not able to count them all. So it's not fair for me to say the results of other people's if I haven't done them for everybody. King and Remsky, sweet intro, wearing a tux too. Does it mean that you'll be telling bad jokes tonight as well? Oh man, don't I always? King and Remsky, have you heard of vitamin C orange juice? I have. Instead, I've got some salted water for hydration. Good stuff. Jimmy A. I have minor sinus infection right now. It's not fun being under the weather. No, it is not, Jimmy A. Appreciate you. Show must go on. Feel better. Thank you. Hello, got my popcorn, movie theater butter, and seltzer. Nice. Cthulhu. Glad you're better. Never worry. It's not that prompt. It's not the prompt that matters. It's the camaraderie. This is agreed. Super Anime Gamer, what is going on? Says here, Ravens better than the Oscars by default because we nominated Eggers and Villeneuve. This is true. Kimberly G, you're a trooper powering through when you were ill. Had no problem. Nope, was not signing off. John Platt, Hail Odin, you watching? Are you watching the Hollywood Golden Turkey Awards roast? Are you kidding me, John Platt? We do our own thing here. No math tonight, Arnold Hay. New Virtue channel this year. What can I expect for Raven Awards? This sounds fun. I just like when Hollywood is heading. Basically, we're about to go through what I like to say is a very prim and proper PowerPoint presentation where we go through the current nominations for this year's Raven Awards and the winners of the awards as well. In fact, let's go ahead. Good question for us just to get started. I will try to pick up from the chat. Moving forward from that point, let me see if I can find it on my main chat, so that way I can. By the way, Matt HTX43, make sure I get this first though. A $10 super chat. I'm amazed I can still do that. Says, howdy, my first Raven Awards. I voted and filled out the predictions. Hail, nice. I hope that you do well this evening, as I do also with everyone else. There's the comment from Arnold Hay. Okay. Are y'all ready? I think that y'all are ready. Let's go ahead and get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the 7th Annual Raven Awards, and we begin with our first category of the evening, which is, of course, Best One-Liner or Quote of the Year. And the nominees, for those that may have forgotten, are: there's only been one blade, there's only ever gonna be one blade, from Deadpool and Wolverine. What kind of American are you? From Civil War. Some mother effers are still trying to ice skate uphill. Deadpool and Wolverine. Maybe this is what happens when you grow up. You feel less joy. From Inside Out 2. And Suck It, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland. From Deadpool and Wolverine. And the winner of the first Raven Award of the evening, and we do have a video clip for this one, should not really come as too much of a surprise, but without further ado, our first winner of the evening for the best one-liner or quote of the year 2024 is...
Where do you get that little beauty?
Punishers, AT4.
Which Punisher? There's been like 5 of them.
There's only been one blade. There's only ever going to be one blade.
That is right, everybody. It is, of course, the best line that's ever happened, I think, in modern cinema, and that is from Deadpool and Wolverine. There's only been one blade. There's only ever gonna be one blade. This one was a favorite quite a while throughout the entire process. We have our chart, of course, to see what the current vote tally was. And as you can see, 41.6% of the vote. That's the other thing I like about the Ravens. We don't just tell you the award winner and then say, take our word for it. Believe us. We counted the votes. Believe that we're being accurate. We give you the data. And so, as you can see, there was definitely a little bit of love for What Kind of American Are You? 22.4% of the votes, but overwhelmingly, the Blade quote was there. 41%, again, almost half of the people voted for it. And I can't say I'm surprised, and I'm very happy with this because it was, I think, one of the best quotes from Deadpool and Wolverine, and was definitely a well-deserved winner. So congratulations for Deadpool Wolverine picking up its first Raven of the evening, and that is our first category. So that is how the show goes for Arnold Hay, who had asked about the Ravens. We do a few categories and a few winners at a time, and then we jump back into the chat. So I'll be able to see what y'all's reactions to these winners are. So that means, of course, without further ado, we move on to our next category. We have 24 total categories, lining up with what used to be the standard at the Oscars, but we all know the Oscars suck for many reasons, and so we continue on with the 24 categories, and so we continue with our next category, which is Best Stunt Work. So one of the most underrated aspects of any film is the stunt work. The stunt workers, the stunt men and women who put their bodies and their lives on the line for their craft. There were several films that came out in 2024 that were really able to showcase just how impressive these stuntmen and women are and how much love they truly deserve. They're not given nearly enough credit on a typical basis, and as we all know, they deserve so much more love and attention. We give them that here on the OMB Reviews channel at the Raven Awards. And so, without further ado, here are our nominees for Best Stunt Work of 2024. The nominees are The Fall Guy, appropriately a film all about stunt workers; Deadpool and Wolverine; Furiosa; Rebel Ridge; and Boy Kills World. Before making the announcement of the winner of this category, I did want to say thank y'all to those that nominated both Rebel Ridge and Boy Kills World. Neither of those films were on my radar. I had not heard about them or seen them. Boy Kills World, maybe I heard a few things when it first came out, but because these were nominated, I ended up watching them to try to see as many of the Raven nominations as I could, and I'm so very thankful. Rebel Ridge is a great action film, very reminiscent, I think, of a Rambo-style story, but also different enough for it to be by itself entertaining. And then Boy Kills World is just a ton of fun. I found the film hilarious because of the way that the movie was made, and some of the best stunt that I have seen in cinema in a long time as well. So kudos to those teams and for all of the films here listed, but there can only be one winner. And so the winner of this year's Raven for Best Stunt Work is, and this should not be too much of a surprise because ultimately, if you have a movie dealing with the subject matter, that subject matter likely will bring the trophy home in the category. And so therefore, The Fall Guy is the winner of the Raven Award for Best Stunt Work. Kudos to them. They had a record event happen in their movie where it was it the biggest, like, was it barrel run or cannon run or cannon spin or whatever it is, basically the amount of turns you do in a car as it flips over. They were able to beat the Guinness World Record, I should say, in this movie. So there's a lot of really great stunts in it, and so kudos to the stunt teams. Again, I think all of those movies we just mentioned had some really great stunts, but Fall Guy, I totally understand why this movie got as much love as it did. And as you can see, 37.6% of the audience also agreed with this. So another overwhelming victory in a category here, with Deadpool Wolverine getting 22.4% of the vote and Boy Kills World, surprisingly, getting 18.4%. So it seems like there were several people that had time to either see or to see after the fact Boy Kills World, but I recommend both that and Rebel Ridge, in fact, for especially the action. But Fall Guy, can't go wrong when it comes to the stunt department there either. So kudos to them having the best stunt work of 2024, according to our Raven Awards, of course. All right, we'll do one more category, and then we'll jump back into the chat. So our third category of the evening is Best Animated Movie. We all love animated films, and there are many films that oftentimes get either looked over at the Oscars or given too much attention at the Oscars, and I always like what we're able to do here on the Raven Awards. And so our nominees for Best Animated Movie are Inside Out 2, Flow, Transformers 1, The Wild Robot, and Memoirs of a Snail. As you all know, I was a huge fan of both Flow and The Wild Robot. Never got to see Inside Out 2. Transformers 1 was a lot better than what it should have been. I think very underrated in that regard. And Memoirs of a Snail, I was not a huge fan of personally. But the people did vote. The people did decide. And according to our audience, the Raven Award for Best Animated Movie of 2024 is, very happily to see, The Wild Robot. Congratulations to The Wild Robot, winning this year's Raven for Best Animated Movie. Well-deserved here. This is a phenomenal animated film with a beautiful story and some really great animation as well. A movie that not a lot of people, unfortunately, got to see. Wasn't the biggest of box office successes in the world, but a beautiful story about family, about what it takes to be a parent, about the change that one can go through over time, and about the power of working together. I mean, there's a lot of really great themes, I think, in this movie that make it well worth people looking into. So congratulations to The Wild Robot, and we can, of course, pull up our chart here. 32% of the audience agreed that this was the best film of 2024, best animated film, with second place going to Flow. That made me happy, even though personally I think I was starting to lean more towards Flow as my favorite. Seeing 24% of the audience still vote for it made me quite happy to see. So congratulations to The Wild Robot getting the win here for the Raven Awards. And with that, we'll take our first break of the evening. But unlike the Oscars where they do commercials, we don't. Instead, we go into the chat to see what y'all had to say. After I take a little sip from my beverage. Okay. Hardwick at 7:32. I watched The Substance. It's a pretentious mess that doesn't follow its own story logic. And what the heck was Dennis Quaid doing playing Vince McMahon? I love the performance from Dennis Quaid, dude. Don't downplay the Quaid performance. It was phenomenal. There's a lot of really good stuff in The Substance. The pretentiousness comes in when they go too crazy with the body horror stuff. That was the crazy part to me. Everything else about it, I thought the message was actually quite appropriate, because I think it's actually a pretty accurate portrayal of how Hollywood is in many ways. We got Snortapubas hanging out. What's going on? Welcome. Boomers find forms hard, says Gary. Yeah, so Gary had issues, first off, finding the instructions, which were very clear to see, and then finding the nominations form, which was posted twice in those instructions. I mean, you can, I guess, like Gary, increase the magnification on the website pretty easily, but it's okay, Gary. It's okay. We got two old Garys being featured here tonight, I guess. Abomination, hail to you. Thank you for being here. Abomination saying, can't wait to see Flo get best writing. Oh, is that what you think is going to happen, seeing that there are no words? That would be funny if it had even gotten nominated for that. JS Pena, I apologize. I set it to the most conservative setting I could. Again, apologies. Kat G, welcome. Hail to you. Always glad to give an alternative to the political nonsense that we oftentimes see. Tip your servers, peeps. Thank you, Laura. I do appreciate your support. And yeah, if you want to donate via Streamlabs and not give YouTube anything, you can check out that link that was posted at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Jonathan Bear, we have gotten started, everybody. I wasn't talking about the type of grooming. I know, Jazz Pena. I thought you were talking about hair. I sure hope you weren't talking about any other kind, because that'd be weird. Steven, ready for this year's Raven Award? It's like a Super Bowl OMB edition. Dang right. Michael V, we are ready. Awesome. Core member, played your video earlier. Shout out to you, good sir. Thank you again for making that intro for us. Take some Airborne. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have some tea after this. No doubt about it. Because my voice actually hasn't been the worst part. I just haven't had to talk a whole lot since I've gotten sick. This obviously is going to be the most talking that I do. So, Cornelius Schultz is very ready. Wendy Hunter, very ready as well. Amber Sherrod, I skate uphill. I don't even remember that line. I do. It was funny then. It's still funny now. One Blade, it's just a huge middle finger to Disney. Totally. Totally agree with this first win. What a line. Magnus Magnuson agreed. So far I'm bowling 1 out of 1. Good for you, Hardwick. I'm sure you're going to rub it in people's faces all night too. I remember you doing that last year too. Let's see. Everyone's excited and happy for Blade. Again, great one. I'm sure that my stream, by the way, will get some type of copyright notice for it. It's like I played you a few seconds of a clip. Get over it, Disney. Oh, man. Rob D says, I voted Furiosa. There was some good stunt work in there. I wouldn't say it was the best, though. Nice to hear Flo won for Best Animated Feature, an upset. What do you mean? What do you mean? Unless it's some other award show that doesn't matter. No, it was The Wild Robot that won Best Animated Feature, which is definitely well-deserved there. Hardwick saying, I'm bowling 1 out of 2 so far. Boom! There it is. But also remember, it doesn't matter how well you bowl, Hardwick. It's about where you placed your choices. Because if you got the number 1 spot wrong, that's just -1 point. If you got that number 24 spot wrong, that's -24 points. That's how you should think about it. So that's why the whole like, oh, I did 10 out of 15, or if I did 20 out of 24, but the 4 I got wrong were the most valuable ones, that, you know, that could easily be the difference between victory and failure. Orange has 2 for 2. Car flip. Did not see Fall Guy. Is it any good? I enjoyed it. I think it's a bit overrated by a lot of people, but it's definitely, I think, it has a lot of good. Has a lot of good going for it. Justin the Red Shirt, that became an even better one-liner when the new Blade movie was suspended indefinitely. Seriously, it's a line that it ages like a fine wine, right? It just gets better and better as more time goes by. 9.5 flips/rolls. Yeah. So I'm very happy that Fall Guy won our best stunt work of the year, because it definitely deserved it. At least for that one scene. I could definitely see that justifying it for the minds of a lot of people. Yeah, Wild Robot was good. Cats rule. I love Flo, man. Dude, trust me, I voted for Flo, but I mean, I also really like Wild Robot. It's like a coin. It's a coin floss for me for both. Coin toss. I said coin floss. Coin toss for me for both. But I definitely see why Wild Robot is definitely a bit more digestible for most people, because there's actually dialogue in the movie. So, you know, I get that. And also, Flo was not easily available for everybody. I tried showing on Discord. I did have some watch parties this week, by the way, on the Discord channel. That's why you should be a part of the Discord channel. Check out one of the top links in the video description that brings you to the link tree that I have. And in there, you'll find a Discord icon. Click on that to join the Discord server. And I typically don't have too many watch parties after the fact, but if there's a desire for them, there's a watch parties channel, and I can very easily set them up now, even remotely. So just let me know in that channel. Bruce says, I think I will pop Wild Robot in the player after the Ravens. That's a good choice. It's a very, very good choice. Yeah, Memoir of a Snail does look creepy, and once you get to the story, it's an adult story. It was very weird. I don't like seeing claymation do adult things. Not very comfortable. King and Rumsky, any thoughts about movies in general in 2024 you want to talk about tonight? Not really. I mean, we'll kind of get through some points of the year as we go through the rest of the show. But who needs instructions? Apparently some people do. Hardwick, I watched the director's cut of Death Machine. It's a lot of fun. Basically, Die Hard meets Alien. Very tongue-in-cheek. Brad Dourif even talks like Daffy Duck at one point. Cool. Frank G, Happy Flo won. Where? The Wild Robot won. Why do you keep saying that Flo won? I'm very, very confused about... Is that someone joking with me? Man. J.S. Pena, or was I? I sure hope not. That's creepy. Hardwick, some of the characters in Death Machine. Okay. I appreciate your love of that movie, man, but I'm trying to save my voice, so reading something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about is really going to hurt. Orange, apparently it is 9 seconds. That is the magic number for copyright, which is BS. YouTube does not enforce the fair use fairly. No, they do not at all. And that's why whenever there's any talk of a magic number, I'm always like, you know, according to who on what day. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into it, everybody. And let's go to our next few categories. And so our next category is NPC of the Year. Always a fun category to see nominations for a non-playable character. These are the people this past year who showed no brains, who showed they're very good at reading the lines of other people, or in fact, they're not very good at reading the lines of other people, either because they have just been programmed so poorly, or because they're just dimwits. I mean, there's really no other way of saying it, or nicer way of saying it. And so NPC of the Year has always been a very fun category for us to be able to nominate people both in cinema, but also in pop culture too, for various reasons. It's one of those categories that's able to kind of bridge the gap between movies and regular pop culture, even cultural elements, even political elements today. So here are our nominees for NPC of the Year. Our nominees are Rachel Zegler, Kamala Harris, Amandla Stenberg, John Rocca, and Grace Randolph. So fun fact here, Grace Randolph has been nominated for NPC of the Year many, many times in the past. Has never won this category, however. She's also been one that has participated in the Shill of the Year category as well. Has also never won that category as well. And I believe Rachel Zegler is now a multi-nominee in this category. Amanda Stenberg, of course, had a very strong performance, earning her this nomination for this past year, especially with everything going on with The Acolyte. And then John Rocca, need we say more, in the YouTube space. But there can only be one winner. There can only be one NPC of the year. And so our nominees, having now been stated, we can announce our winner. And our winner for the NPC of the year for the year 2024 is none other than Rachel Zegler. Congratulations to Rachel Zegler. Go ahead and take a screenshot, tag her in it. I'm sure she would love to see all the love being shown her way as she continues to try to play damage control for all of the harm she's done to any chance that Disney has with Snow White making any money. A spoiler warning, it's not. The early tracking of the box office is abysmal. The amount of money they spent on this, even being reported back in 2023, but whatever number they come up with, by the way, keep in mind that Carolyn Reed over on Forbes, shout out to her, has been covering how much money was spent on this movie before a whole other year passed by. So whenever you hear these fake numbers being put forward, go back to her article on Forbes.com, it's still live, where we know as a fact they spent a crap ton more than what is being reported by some of the trades even today. So Rachel Zegler, you are truly an NPC, a very talented singer, but an NPC nonetheless. Congratulations on winning this category. I believe she is now a 2-time winner. Some of my historians in the chat, if y'all can look up last year's winner, I think she won this award last year as well. It's kind of just amazing how that's how long this saga has been going on. That even in 2023 and 2024, she was known as this NPC. So it's kind of just amazing. But of course, this was not an easy win, as she did win, right, by about 10%. 35.2% of the vote was for her, but Kamala Harris was a very strong contender. Early on, I thought she was going to run away with it, and I'm kind of happy she didn't, because it's obviously fun to have people like her being brought into the discussion, but I also try to avoid politics whenever possible. So I understood why she was nominated. I understood why she was getting a lot of attention, but happy to see Rachel Zegler win here, because I think she really fits the bill a lot more and fits this category a lot better as well. And Grace Randolph continuing to not be able to win. More than enough people nominating her, not enough people choosing her to be the actual worst, or rather the top NPC. So Rachel Zegler, congratulations once again for being our 2024 NPC of the year. All right, moving on then to our next category. We have Best Visual Effects of 2024. Y'all know I'm a very big stickler for visual effects. Bad CGI or overuse of CGI drive me insane, but we did have some good effects going on this year, both CGI, practical, and a mixture of the two as well. So our best visual effects are as follows. The nominees are Alien Romulus, which arguably had good and some really, really bad CGI, for a matter of fact. Twisters, The Substance, Dune Part 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and because there was a tie, we actually do have 6 nominees in this category, which is why Nosferatu also gets a nomination here. So again, some films with some mixed CGI, some mixed visual effects. I think that all of them have definitely a lot of stuff to bring to the table. Honestly, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 came in a little bit later to the nomination process, but still was able to get enough support to get through. And Alien Romulus, despite it having some of the worst CGI that we've ever seen in cinema, the whole Rook stuff was awful. The fact is that the world itself that they first started off on looked really, really good, and that was a mixture of practical and CG elements. And so, got to give credit where credit is due. But there can only be one film that wins the Raven Award, and so our best visual effects of 2024 should be coming to no surprise, because it is Dune Part 2. I mean, there's just no way around it, man. You know, congratulations, Dune Part 2, on this massive victory here. It really just flat out had the best effects. It's just not even a question. There were some other nominees here, but let's be honest here, Dune Part 2 absolutely had the best effects. The sandworms especially look amazing. The whole sequence of riding the sandworms as well, it still just boggles the mind how they were able to get those shots crafted and to make it look so good, to make it look so authentic. And we all know whenever Denis Villeneuve is behind the camera, visual effects are always going to be very well done. So kudos to Dune Part 2 and to everyone on the visual effects team. And as we can tell here, no surprise, another overwhelming victory in this case. I mean, it wasn't even close. 48%, almost half the audience voted for Dune Part 2, with a very distant second going to The Substance. Substance has some very good effects, especially some practical makeup and bodysuit stuff with some CG elements too. And sure, they made it look very, very creepy, and everything about the movie really is disturbing. But Dune Part 2 easily had the best. So congratulations to Dune Part 2 for winning the Raven for Best Visual Effects of the Year. And we'll do one more category before jumping back into the chat. And so our next category is Best Cinematography. One of my favorite categories because cinematography is one of my favorite things to look at in movie making. I think it's a very lost art. I think that there are some people that are able to truly capture life on screen in a very special way. Some can innovate in such a degree that they're able to tell a story just by the visual medium itself. And unfortunately, there are many today that just go very much by the book, don't add much of anything, or they become lazy and fall into the shaky cam nonsense that we oftentimes see, especially in modern day action film fare. And so we're going to talk about the best ones, though, the good cinematography from this past year. And so our nominees for Best Cinematography of the year 2024 are Greg Fraser for Dune Part 2, Jaron Blaschke for Nosferatu, Gallo Olivares for Alien Romulus, Giovanni Ribisi for Strange Darling, and Simon Duggan for Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I will say I was very surprised to see Alien Romulus in the nominations category and Simon Duggan for Furiosa on this as well. I thought that Furiosa's cinematography was fine. Alien Romulus' cinematography I don't think was that much to write home about, but again, always happy to see unexpected nominations in our Raven Awards. And as you all know, I thought that the cinematography for Dune, Nosferatu, and especially Strange Darling were phenomenal. Strange Darling, I think, is just one of the most underrated films from last year. It's one that people didn't get to see. So I hope that in the future, people will give it a chance, because I do think it will be, especially cinematography-wise, one of your favorites. But there can only be one winner for Best Cinematography. And so our winner for Best Cinematography of the year 2024 is... And I don't think it's much of a surprise because he has won in the past, though this time he wins it by himself without a partner cinematographer, and that is Greg Fraser for Dune Part 2. I believe, congratulations, by the way. I know he was nominated in the past for the film The Creator, where it was him and someone else as co-cinematographers who were nominated. I don't remember if they both won or not, but Greg Fraser winning Dune Part 2 for Dune Part 2 here. Again, a beautiful film. And even though the story elements are a lot of problems and the whole character of Chani was awful, what we can say is that it was beautiful to look at. And a big part of that was, of course, the cinematographer, Greg Fraser. So congratulations to him on making a beautiful movie and getting a lot of love and support in the process from our Ravens community. And this one was also not even close, right? 40.8% of the vote went to Greg Fraser for Dune. Second place went to Giovanni Ribisi for Strange Darling. I was very happy to see his name pop up there several times. Jaron Blaschke for Nosferatu also had a very strong showing, and everyone else was a little bit below the radar there. But again, a lot of great nominees, a great winner, and cinematography continues to be, I think, doing pretty well. So, whew, I needed that water. Anyway, I did want to give a shout out to, let me see if I can get his notification to pop up one more time. There it is. So shout out to Cat G3000 for the $5 tip over on Streamlabs, YouTube, and getting out of that. Saying, woo, had trouble logging in the Streamlabs. Take care of that virus of yours. Not fun. Hey, appreciate it, Cat G, very much. And I will. Again, feeling a lot better, but definitely will need some tea after this evening. GMonkey76, hail to you. Thanks for being here. Floying costs, indeed. I thought people would catch that. Bruce Fall Guy, own it, love it. Sadly, Kaiju, sick Odin still speaks better than Gary at reading super chats. That's not a hard thing to do. Even he would admit that. Sherry Allen, hi everyone. Yes, Raven's chat, please no, blah, blah, blah. Super. Public movie stream on Discord means we can host one too. Been thinking about trying to do one myself. I think you can. I'm not exactly sure. If I have it set off, it might be because there's the whole thing with like copyright stuff. It's hard to say. Ryan Liu, I thought it was 30 seconds for copyright. I don't know, honestly. I don't really follow it. Campy for the win. He wasn't even nominated in that category. Yes, indeed. Rachel Zegler for NPC. Campia for Shill. Is that what you think, Justin C? 3 out of 4 for Jimmy A, he says. Congrats to Rachel. Weird. Yes. She continues to be our weird NPC darling, though. Our weird NPC darling. Jez Pena, not happy with that one. I guess he bet wrong on that one. How did RZ beat out the brain dead Kamala? Because I think enough pop culture people voted for her, whereas a lot of those people are also ones that just do not care about politics. That's what I was saying before. It made sense for Kamala to even get nominated, let alone get that much support. But it made more sense for Rachel to get nominated and much more sense for her to get more votes. Because hers is more appropriate for the kind of content that we cover, in pop culture at least. Rare Sci-Fi, Rachel is having a good week. Well, with Trek 5 taking all of the heat in the last few days, I guess you could technically argue that. Abomination saying, so in other words, Snow White costs $180 million. King and Remsky, you know your career's going downhill when you beat Kamala in 2024 for NPC of the year. That's true. We can now say that Kamala has lost twice in the year 2024. Anyway, Hardwick, Flo won Best Animated Film at the Oscars. Okay. Man, if the Oscars still meant something, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, they don't. I wish they still did. I wish that they even still had a massive increase in box office help, because it used to be you would get something known as the Oscar bump, but that's not really something that I think exists to the same level or the same degree as it used to, because the only people that really even watch and care about the Oscars are old people, and so there's only certain things that they're even going to watch in the first place. Jeremy Zakowski, I'm sure when Snow White flops, she will blame the white. Of course she will. Harwick, 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, not bad for my score. That's good. It all depends on where things were. Didn't get my 8 or 9 score. Still in it. Yep. 8 or 9. Those aren't terrible places. Geek64, I voted for Dune. No contest, but I like the spaceships in Romulus. Oh, totally agreed, Geek Truth. Again, the things that were really good in Romulus were really good, but there was also a couple of really, really bad things too. Wendy Hunter, I'm not doing well on my picks. It's okay. That's why it's for fun. That's why it's all just for fun. Let's see. Substance, another movie I have by the player waiting to watch. Boom, there it is. Strange Darling was a great film. Agreed. I didn't realize Giovanni Ribisi was a cinematographer. Yeah, seriously. Yes, Cat G, absolutely. I didn't either. So when I finally saw his picture, I didn't connect who he was by his name only. So I saw his picture. I was like, oh, he was really good. It's like, oh, he did that amazing work for Strange Darling. That makes me happy to see that. Jimmy A says he's 5 for 6. Orange Chat, not happy with that win. I wish I had played bowling. I'm on a roll. Well, hey, there's always next year. Hurry, I voted for Giovanni Ribisi. I wish way more movies looked like Strange Darling, but I predicted Greg Fraser in bowling. Yep. That is that's where I would have gone to. Carl Jacobs, hey, I'm an old man. I don't watch the Oscars. Hey, it's more of a generality, okay? More of a generality. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into it now that I've caught back up with the chat. And so our next category of the evening, most SJW screenwriters. Okay, so we know there's some good screenwriting, there's some bad screenwriting, and then there's just political screenwriting when your movies are clearly trying to push a message. And so we call you SJWs, we call you social justice warriors, we call you those pushing identity politics in some way, in some form in your movies. And so these are some of the worst when it comes to not only movies, but also just writing in general and the politicization of Hollywood. And so our nominees for most SJW screenwriters of 2024 are Kobe Libby for the American Society of Magical You-Know-What. Zack Snyder, Johnstad. I forgot some of these have long lists because so many people were part of the poor writing process. So we'll do this again. Zack Snyder, Kurt Johnstad, Shay Hatton for Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scar Giver. Matt Zahama, Burke Sharpless, Claire Parker, and S.J. Clarkson for Madam Web. Gabriel Sherman for The Apprentice, and Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez. Though all of these movies, with the one exception probably being The Apprentice, because I have not seen that, and everything I heard about it made it sound like it wasn't necessarily the best written movie. SJW, again, hard to say. Again, not having seen it myself, obviously there's a couple of things in there that seem to take jabs at President Trump, and it is what it is. But I think that the other ones very, very clearly are pushing identity politics stuff, are really pushing the entire mindset of the modern day gender and gender identity cultural movements, right? Feminist ridiculousness. And so it made a lot of sense for all of these, but only one of these movies, only one of these teams of writers or even individual writers could possibly take this to be the most SJW, all right? And it's one that, I think towards the end, towards the later stages, was able to pick up a lot of steam for a variety of reasons, and it should be coming of no surprise that the winner of the Raven Award for most SJW screenwriter is, of course, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez. That's right, the movie about the trans man, trans woman. I don't even know or care really about what way they try to justify this mental illness. But it's a story about a Mexican gang cartel leader who becomes, air quotes, a woman, and features a song that even sings about transition surgery, and it's cringe as all get out. It honestly feels like a comedy, but unfortunately it is not, and therefore it completely makes sense to me to be our most SW movie. And for Jacques Audiard, who also, as a Frenchman, never even went to Mexico or did any research into Mexican culture before writing this movie, which makes it even better for a variety of reasons. But shout out to Amelia Perez for winning most SJW Screenwriter of the Year, and for Jacques Audiard for being the individual winner here. This was one where, as I said, it was very close towards the very beginning, especially with the American Society really dominating at first. But as this one became more in the public domain as far as its discussions, and those 13 Oscar nominations, I think really put this thing on the map for a lot of reasons. So I guess in that way we can maybe be thankful, because it kind of exposed that the emperor had no clothes. And Jacques Audiard, congratulations, because you, 38.4% of the vote to Kobe Libby's 30%. So a very respectable second place showing for that film and that film's writer. And unfortunately, Zack Snyder did not get more votes here, but that's okay, because this wasn't necessarily the category that he deserved most compared to those other persons. Okay. Ooh, sorry, I needed a little extra sip there as we continue to go on. So our next category, it's a big one. We like to do some of our big ones earlier in the evening. So our next category is Best Director. There were a lot of great films this past year, but there were also a lot of great directors that brought these films into existence, whether they are there to help the actors be the best versions of themselves, whether they are visual directors, or whether they are simply directors that have all of those pieces and parts tied together and make a flowing product that is just from head to toe effective in everything that it does. A brilliance in execution, we could say. There are a lot of great directors from this past year, and we have, I would say all of them represented in some way or another in this category. And so our nominees for Best Director of the Year are Robert Eggers for Nosferatu, Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, Sean Levy for Deadpool and Wolverine, David Leitch for The Fall Guy, and J.T. Molnar for Strange Darling. I was very happy that Strange Darling was barely able to get into this category, but still very happy to see it nonetheless. Strange Darling, as you all know, I've mentioned very clearly before, is my favorite film of 2024, or one of my favorite films of 2024 at least. But I cannot deny that Robert Eggers, Denis Villeneuve, especially David Leitch, did a phenomenal job, and the comedy for Deadpool Wolverine was clearly there also. despite some of the other issues, just with the overall story not necessarily being the most robust, but still all great directors in different ways, some shining out more than others, and especially with one case, there's only one, of course, who can take this award and be our Ravens Award winner for 2024's Best Director of the Year. The Raven goes to Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. Congratulations, Denis Villeneuve. I believe he's been nominated a few times in this category now. I believe the first Dune got him some attention, maybe even got him the victory. I honestly can't remember at this point. Our historians in the chat can look further into that. But Denis Villeneuve, Dune Part 2. Again, despite my issues with the character of Chani, no denying whatsoever that the movie is still very well done and is a visual spectacle that only someone like Denis Villeneuve could pull off. So shout out to him. And this was also one where he did very, very well, 28% of the vote. But there was a very strong contingency of people showing up for Robert Eggers as well. Obviously, Nosferatu was a very popular film this past year from a lot of people. 23.2% of the vote going to Nosferatu. 18.4% going to JT Molnar. Very happy again to see that very strong showing for Strange Darling. But Denis Villeneuve walked off with this one. And so congratulations to him for this year's Raven Award for Best Director. And we'll do one more category before we take a break. Our next category is, it's a video. We'll watch a video to see our winner. So for Best Fight Scene / Action Sequence of the Year 2024. So these are movies only. The sequence that we thought was well choreographed, a lot of fun. There's so many things and so many ways for us to think about it. A fight scene or just a general action sequence. And there were some really good ones from this past year. A lot of them come from the same place, as we will soon see. Did that split the vote? Only time will tell. But our best fight scenes or action sequences of the year are Deadpool Wolverine, Deadpool versus the Deadpool Corps. Paul versus Feyd-Rautha from Dune Part 2. The Honda Odyssey fight from Deadpool and Wolverine. Reggie defends his family from Bad Boys, Ride or Die. And the opening fight against the TVA from Deadpool and Wolverine. So Deadpool Wolverine getting 3 out of the 5 nominations here. Dune Part 2 getting 1. And even Bad Boys, Ride or Die got a nomination at this year's Ravens with this site. I will say, based off of the little I've seen of that sequence, it actually looks like it's a great scene. You see a little bit of it here on screen right now with these animated GIFs, as I call them. I heard some people call them GIFs. I'm sorry. I don't care if that's what the person who created them calls them. It's a GIF. Get out of here with that nonsense. But a lot of great fight sequences this year. You all know I had a very special place in my heart for for one of them, especially because of its connection to the man van that I myself own. But there can only be one winner in this category for Best Fight Scene Action Sequence of the Year. And so I do have a video clip to showcase that winner. It's a little bit on the longer side. Hopefully the channel does not get dinged. Also a warning, because there is some language towards the beginning. In fact, I might skip the video a little bit just to avoid that possibility and to shorten the time as well. But I do apologize in advance if there are any curse words that you can hear uttered. Normally, we are a very family-friendly stream, but this being the case and me not having enough time to do a full edit of this clip, we are left with what we got. And so our winner is... Everybody, it is the Honda Odyssey fight from Deadpool and Wolverine. I was very, very happy to see that this had the winning spot because, as I mentioned right before, this has a very special place in my heart. Being a driver of a man van and having to have done the research on the different vans and their safety and all these other things you do as a parent of 2 young kids. The Honda Odyssey was obviously one that I had looked into. The fact that this was a tie-in to an earlier part of the movie where he was trying to sell someone on a Honda Odyssey as well. I thought it was a very fun sequence there. And again, apologies if any curse words got through. I tried to jump as much as I could. of the beginning, which I knew that there were a couple of moments that had maybe a couple curse words. But it was a fun action sequence nonetheless, and very happy to see that on there. Ultimately, though, it was a pretty clear winner here. 32% of the vote went to the Han Odyssey fight. The opening fight against the TVA got 17.6. The other Deadpool Wolverine, which was the Deadpool core, also got 17.6%, so a tie for second place there. Paul versus Fade Rotha from Dune got 16% of the vote. And then Reggie, 9.6% of the vote for that film. So congratulations to the Han Ozzy fight and for those persons behind that sequence for Deadpool Wolverine. So, all right, let's head back into the chat to see what y'all have. All right. Forever Sci-Fi is a member saying, my dad isn't watching the Oscars, but he is watching Shang-Chi. I think that's a draw. Ooh, yeah. Ouch. 6.5 or 6 out of 6 half strike, says Gary Banjo. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Nosferatu was a beautifully shot movie. And yeah, Dune Part 2, I think, deserved it. Please be Kobe, please be Kobe, please be Kobe. I'm sorry it wasn't Kobe. Again, early voting stage, Kobe was running away with it, dude. But once the 13 Oscar nominations come out, the vote changed. And so the focus and shift went all the way in that direction, man. So I could see why one would have thought that at first, though. Let's see. Abomination saying 2025's most SJW screenwriter is going to be real interesting to see next year. Some crazy movies coming out, including The Cleaner. Ooh, that's a good point. Slicer Neons, finally my internet has sucked all night, but I can finally use the chat. Hail to you. All 7 already. I mean, now I'm old. Slicer Neons, appreciate you being in the chat, man. Thanks for being here. It's 8:23 p.m. where I am. So we are rolling right along. Yeah, a lot of people sharing their votes. 4 out of 7 for Hardwick. Short is short saying, the T. It's always the T. Kimberly G is also bowling 4 for 7. Monotonous Pleb also was predicting Amelia Perez. 6 out of 7 for Jimmy A. Jimmy A saying, well deserved for this terrible looking movie. Didn't watch it, but looked laughably bad. Yeah, seriously. Orange Chat stares stoically after not winning SW writing. Again, it was not a bad choice. And had the voting cut off about a month ago, very early on, you would have gotten it. For Sci-Fi, why does that poster for Amelia Perez look blasphemous? Well, seeing that at the very end, they have a statue of her being presented and walked through the streets of the city like a Marion statue. It absolutely is a blasphemous image, I would probably say. Bruce, I watched all of the director's cut of Rebel Moon yesterday. Visually so good, but the logic bombs are so many. Dude, no, I'm sorry. The visuals are terrible too, Bruce. It is CGI salad. It is a CGI fest. It looks so artificial, and it's mind-numbing. It creates a headache in anyone. How are we saying? I voted for Adiard in the Ravens, but predicted Kobe Libby in bowling. Ooh, that's a tough choice. One day I need to screw my courage to the sticking place and see magical. You know what? No. Sean Levy, the Joker's brother. I don't know. That's a great question. I think it's because they try to make a connection to Mexican drug cartels. And as I mentioned, the director did no actual research on Mexican culture. So who knows? Jimmy A, who's a member, saying, Light was my favorite for the work that man has done on the John Wick movies alone. Yeah, seriously. And I understand why he would get some support there for sure. 4 out of 8 for Hardwick. The R is booing. Odin voted for Denis Villeneuve. Rob D says, for director? I told y'all who I voted for. I voted for J.T. Molnar. I'm always very, very clear about who I support. And now y'all can see the ones I support are usually not the winners. But that's why we let y'all be the voice here. Wendy Hunter says, I think I'm 1 for 8. Oh no, Wendy. It's okay. It's okay. We're all fun. We're all having fun here. I'm not going to reveal everyone's scores either, Wendy, so don't worry. It's going to be whoever our top 3 or 4 vote getters are. So don't worry. I'm not going to reveal everyone's voting number. Unless you want me to reveal your number when we're going through it. Cthulhu, Denis Villeneuve should be disqualified for Best Director for Zendaya's crap performance. I think that's definitely a good point to make. If the visuals he was able to garner out of Greg Fraser and everyone else involved weren't so darn good, I would agree. The sound design in Dune was just as impactful as the visuals. Agreed, Laura. That's a great shout. Orange Chat 3 for 8. I don't think I will be scoring well. It depends again on where you put those. DW in the car. Honda fight. Yep. It was good. Rob D says some things. Come on to Odyssey. Yes. Did I say on to Odyssey? What is going on? Why am I becoming dyslexic on live stream? This doesn't make any sense. I blame the illness. It's got to be that. Come on, Honda Odyssey. It was such a great scene. It was a good one. It isn't peanut butter. It is a gift without the tea. Oh, gotta rock the man band, man. JS Pena. Yes, exactly. It is a GIF. Because, again, Jif, as you mentioned, is peanut butter. Okay? I must say, I haven't seen Deadpool Wolverine. I think it's fun. I agree, Jif is already a peanut butter. Facts. Agree, it's GIF. Jif is a peanut butter. That's where I stand. Hardwick is 5 for 9. It's electrifying. Seriously, the song choice, too, in that opening sequence is also great. Yeah, I mean, I understand not everyone liked that scene, but I thought it was just hilarious. Such a great scene. It saw in IMAX. Nice. Very nice. Jimmy A. kind of would have liked to have seen Bad Boys get some love, but the Deadpool scene was so really fun. I agreed. I'm glad that it was nominated because I actually got to see that sequence, but it was not enough for me to want to watch the movie because I've not seen the other Bad Boys movies, and so it would take me a long time to ever get to that film either because I had to watch all the others. The Honda did not deserve that. Deadpool did, says Forever Sci-Fi. No, the Honda, you're right, did not deserve that kind of a beating, but it deserved that victory. Deadpool got 75% of the vote, basically. Yeah, basically. That's another way of looking at it. Hardwick says, I pronounce GIF as the individual levers GIF. For some reason, it seems that few people do. Interesting. I haven't heard about that. Super. The worst part of Ravens bowling is thinking about how much better I would be doing if I didn't doubt myself. Dang, man. Jimmy A says the same thing and agrees. All I can see is Crusader Odin over your left shoulder. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it, man. I'm so thankful that he keeps making that stuff for us. It's always great whenever he reveals his next work. The virus is attaching to your gray matter. Oh no. Lizdexia is fatal, beware. Thank you, GIF. It isn't over yet. You're true. Very, very true. There's still several categories to go. And speaking of that, now that I'm caught up, let's go ahead and dive back into our awards for the evening. So our next category is Breakthrough Performance. So this is not necessarily a new actor. This is not necessarily an actor with very few credits to their name. It's just about who stood out this year, whose performance, whose role got a lot of people talking for a variety of reasons. So it could be a newer actor or actress. It could be a lot of things that really draw us to a specific performance in a given year. I love this category too because it is not gender specific, and so men and women can both get nominated in this category, and it's really always cool to see what people come up with. So our nominees for Breakthrough Performance of the Year are Bill Skarsgård for Nosferatu, Hugh Jackman for Deadpool and Wolverine, David Dastmalchian for Late Night with the Devil, Lily Rose Depp for Nosferatu, and Glenn Powell for Twisters. A very good group of people, I think. All of them fit this category for different reasons. Again, Breakthrough, a bit more of a broad brush, a broad category, and I always appreciate the fact that we can have categories like that give a lot more leeway to people to get their votes in and to get their nominees in ways that maybe they wouldn't be able to on other platforms or other shows that maybe used to matter. Maybe even shows that are going on right now that used to actually have standards. But we like to have standards here, and we like to let y'all have a voice in that too. And so there can only be one winner, though, of Breakthrough Performance of the Year. So our winner of the Raven Award for the best, or in this case, the Breakthrough Performance of 2024 is none other than Lily Rose Depp for Nosferatu. Could be seen as a controversial pick. This is the daughter of Johnny Depp. And some people were very harsh on her performance in Nosferatu, saying it was a bit over the top, whereas others, and I would include myself in this, actually thought that her performance was very powerful, that she was able to show a range that, for someone that I've never seen anything, and from what I've heard, everything else she's been in has not been all that great. So for her to be able to pull off a performance here in this way, I thought was very commendable. And of course, you have to give shout out to Robert Eggers for getting this performance out of her as well. So congratulations to Lily Rose Depp for getting the breakthrough performance win here at the Raven Awards. And as you can see here, it was a pretty strong win for her, 28.8% of the vote going to her, but also strong performances from Glenn Powell, 22.4%, Bill Skarsgård, 16%, Hugh Jackman at 12.8%, and David Dastmalchian at 15%. I will say this much. Finally, and this is why I love the Ravens too, movies that I otherwise would never have seen or given any attention to are put on my radar and I'm watching them. So I funny story, I was planning on never watching Late Night with the Devil because I try to avoid anything that deals with the demonic. Just out of personal preference, as you all know, I'm a Catholic and I try to avoid that kind of stuff. But it was actually during the watch party stream that we had on the Discord channel. And I was sitting in my room and I had saw that part of this film was going on. And I saw, oh, that's interesting. It looks like a 70s TV show. That kind of is intriguing to me. So I got up closer and I put my headphones on and started listening to it. I'm like, oh, so this movie is not just about the demonic possession stuff and not just in the creepy category. There seems to be more to it than that. And I just couldn't stop watching. And so I eventually, the next day, was able to spend time watching the whole thing. And man, it is phenomenal. Now, I do think it goes off the rails a bit towards the end. So I got a rad score from me over on Critic List, but it is a very underrated film. And David Dastmalchian, I'm probably mispronouncing his name too, did a phenomenal job and deserves a lot more love in general. And I'm happy to say that he was nominated at this year's Ravens because it's a lot more than what he would have gotten anywhere else, it seems. So congratulations to him, but especially congratulations to our winner, Lily Rose Depp, for breakthrough performance of the year 2024. All right, moving on to our next category is worst writing/story in film. So there's good stories and there's bad stories. These are not just about being SJW. We've already awarded those garbage writers. These are about who have the worst stories, the worst writing in a movie. And so the nominees for worst writing and story in film for the year 2024 are the writers of the American Society of the Magical You-Know-What, Joker, Folie à Deux, Madame Web, Argyle, and Borderlands. So we had a lot of winners in this category for really, honestly, the worst stories to come out. Not just the worst movies, but the worst stories as well. Argyle was one that a lot of people may have forgotten about. I'm happy that it got some attention to get nominated here. But there can only be one movie to win this category. There can only be one worst story of the year. And so the winner of the Raven Award for our worst writing for a movie for the year 2024 is Joker 2, or Joker, Folie à Deux. Congratulations, Joker 2. You are the worst story out there. Can't say I'm that surprised. This movie was awful, and the story was a big part of that. They took everything they had built up in the first movie and crapped all over it at the expense of their fans, making one of the biggest bombs of 2024 and destroying any prospects for any futures, really, from any of the characters or anything from this universe. And honestly, probably put some of the people behind the movie on the Hollywood blacklist, I would imagine, for quite some time, because why would you hire someone that could lose you as much money as this film did? So congratulations, Joker 2. You are the worst story of the year. This was one where it was a pretty strong win. However, Madame Web did have a very strong showing here too. So Joker 2 got 32.8% of the votes. Madame Web, 28.8% of the vote. So it was neck and neck for a long time between these two. Joker 2 did take the final cake there. And American Society of Magical You-Know-What did get 21% of the vote. But Joker 2 won with about a third of the vote, with a strong second showing for Madame Web. So congratulations, Joker 2. Worst writing for a film in 2024. One more category before we take another break. And our next category is Most Iconic Film of the Year. So we always like to say we've got our best pictures, we've got our least favorite pictures, our worst pictures of the year. But there's also films that it's like, look, it's kind of in a category of its own. It's iconic. It's going to be remembered for years to come. It made an impact on the year that it came out to such a degree that people will still be talking about it 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And it'll be one that will likely be rewatched by a lot of people. And so these were our nominees for the most iconic film of 2024. The nominees are Nosferatu, Deadpool and Wolverine, The Wild Robot, Wicked Part 1, and The Fall Guy. Now, some people who follow my channel might be surprised to see Wicked Part 1 on here, but it did get a few nominations, and let's be honest, it did make a pretty big splash at the box office, and so kind of on paper, it makes sense for this movie to be on the list and for it to be one that people will be talking about, especially the interviews for the actresses behind the scenes will definitely make this a talking point for years to come. But there could only be one iconic movie, or most iconic movie, that will be rewatched the most by the most people, regardless of whether you are one of those persons or not. I think most of us would probably agree that this seems to be the very likely choice. And so our winner for most iconic film of 2024 is none other, of course, than Deadpool and Wolverine. Congratulations, Deadpool and Wolverine. This was a very easy favorite going into the night. In fact, you can see for yourself, 41.6% of the vote. So an overwhelming victory here. Nosferatu had a very strong contingency throughout the entirety of the Ravens. So you see that here, and you'll see that continuing to go forward as well. 22.4% going to Nosferatu, 17.6% going to The Wild Robot. But there's just no denying Deadpool Wolverine absolutely is a movie that people will continue to talk about. It will be rewatched. You may not be one of those persons, but I think you would even have to admit, even if it's not for you, you can recognize it's for a lot of other people out there. So congratulations to Deadpool Wolverine, continuing to win several Raven Awards this evening. And that's something that you will not hear about in another award show this evening that's probably awarding a lot of crap right now, which is why we boycott it actively. Anyway, let's head back into the chat. Let's see. Do the nominees get gift bags? I see what you did there. Icthulu, I'm heartbroken. Saturday Night is nowhere on these awards. Those performances were exceptional. Icthulu, Saturday Night did get a nomination. So don't worry. It got a nomination in one of our categories. I definitely agree. I don't think a lot of people saw the movie, but it did get at least one nomination, man. So don't worry. Hardwick Bowling, 5 out of 10. Kimberly G, 5 out of 10. Jimmy A, 7 out of 10. She has nice eyes, I admit. Well, there you go. Super saying, Leah's performance didn't feel as natural as Holt's or Defoe's, but her physicality was impressive. The visuals combined with her performance should have earned Edgar's nomination. Yeah, agreed. And I guess my one critique of that would be, I think that they were good performances from Holt and Defoe, but if you remember what her performances have been in other movies, she's basically unknown. And I think people have said that before she really gave bad performances in her other movies, and so that's what makes her more of a breakout versus a Defoe. I mean, Defoe and Holt always bring it, so there's nothing really special about it necessarily. But if either of them had been nominated in that category, it would have made sense to me too, because they would have fit a different condition of the breakout performance too. Let's see. This is Duffy, he says. This is a Duffy. Rob D, American Society, worst story. Again, the plot synopsis alone. Oh, again, I'm not saying it's not bad, but Harwick, I'm bowling 6 for 11. Jimmy A is 7 for 11. Jimmy A says, I'll nominate Den of Thieves 2 for this year. For next year, it feels like it was written by an edgy 8th grader that thinks smoking and swearing is cool. Yeah, I will definitely have to get that up. So tomorrow, I think, again, we won't do the announcement of the bowling winners until next Monday. So not tomorrow, but next Monday. But I should be able to get the form for submitting early shortlist nominations for next year's Ravens. I should be able to get that open tomorrow during the day. I've got a couple off periods during the day, and that's a pretty easy, like, I copy the form and then I open it and send it out. So yeah, if you're all starting to think about what movies from this year, from 2025, might already be starting to earn some of these nominations, y'all can start to get those things put together and get those submitted as early as tomorrow. And then it'll be open for the entirety of the year as a rolling nomination form, just to get people getting in as many nominations as they can. Let's see. This category could also be packed next year. Kimberly G, 5 out of 11, Hardwick pulling ahead. Again, depends on these categories and what was the point value of that category. Right, you as a member, well-deserved award for Joker 2, agreed. Jess Pena, I've said this once, I'll say it again. Todd Phillips sucks at doing sequels. It's very good. Point. Gary Banjo, so wrong answers come off your score. Well, but think of it this way, okay? You're really adding, right? So the perfect score is 300. That's why it's called Ravens Bowling. Perfect score in bowling is 300. Perfect score in the awards is perfect. So the way it works is that every category you get correct, you get those points. I like to say it as subtracted because if you think about a perfect score being 300, you can think of a wrong answer as subtracting. So whether you're thinking of it as an addition or subtracting game, it still works out to be the same. If through the thanks to Wicked, we know how human praying mantises hold hands. This is true. 7 out of 12 for Hardwick. 8 of 12 for Jimmy A. Rob D, I voted Wicked. No way it will be remembered in this community, but the general movie-going community, yes. Agreed. Definitely agreed. Gary, the skill is to pick what your viewers like. That's a very, very good point, Gary. It's a very good point. Matt HTX. GIF stands for Graphic Interchange Format, so yes, GIF. Kinkin Rumsky saying, I think only one of my picks has won so far. Most of my picks are third-ish. Dang. Made you say, but there he is. Glad to be here. Came from Salty Saturday, where I saw you months ago. Yeah, dude, I remember seeing you on there most Saturdays, so I appreciate you being here, man. Slash of Neons, still bowling a 0 for 0 status quo remains. Dang. Geek Truth, props for putting on the show while sick. Hey, Geek Truth, if I physically couldn't do it, I wouldn't, and I feel awful. But I said, you know what, as long as I'm physically feeling okay and overall, other than my voice, I'm feeling okay, that I would go for it, because I know there's at least some people who really appreciate the stream and come every year and put out their ballots and get popcorn and all the things that y'all was shared about how y'all prepared for tonight. And I was like, I'd feel bad if I didn't follow through, you know? It's like, look, if all it gets me is if the only thing I suffer from it is a sore throat, I'm okay. Some tea will help me when I get off the show. I'll nominate Companion for 2025. The interesting thing is always which category. Captain Falcon gets my vote. Ooh, Captain Falcon will be a huge hit for the 2025 Ravens. There's no doubt about that. That's why I like to get that form out as quickly as possible, because while these films are fresh in our minds, we can think, okay, this was awesome, this sucked, this person was great, etc. Gary saying, only low numbers coming off for me. There you go. 1:45 a.m. says Gary, I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm also not going to rush. Gary, I do apologize. Wicked isn't out yet. Next year or year after, Wicked Part 2 going to be nominated. Yeah, Wicked Part 2 comes out this year. So Wicked could definitely be in the conversation going forward. All right, caught up with the chat, though, so we'll go ahead and move forward for the sake of Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington, so that we don't end too late. We're making some good time, though. All right, we're making some good time. All right, so our next category is most pointless character in film. Now, I will be honest. This is a category I am considering, and I often don't do this. As you all know, I love my categories. I love the Ravens categories in general, and I would never want to do away with a category. But this is one I think I am the most open to replacing with a different category. Most pointless character in film. And it's not because I don't think it's important, because obviously it's good for us to make fun of really bad characters. And then we've had some pretty good ones in the past, but this is one where only 4 characters got nominated. This was the least nominated category by far. It had a very high abstain rate as well in the final vote. So I'm considering it. The alternative that I'm thinking of is actually to make this kind of a secondary best picture, but have that be like a criticalist community type vote, or something to that effect. Again, nothing has been made official here. Nothing has been, done away with. I'm just letting y'all know my thoughts. Just laying it out there. But anyway, our most pointless characters in film for the year 2024. The nominees are Conor McGregor for the film Roadhouse, Johnny for Dune Part 2, Ben Parker for Madam Web, and Arthur Fleck for Joker 2. So truly pointless characters in every way for a wide variety of reasons. As you all know, Chani for Dune Part 2 was my most annoying character of the year by far. She made me hate the entirety of the movie. And I know some people really cannot stand the actress that plays her, but to me, it was the character. It was not her. All right, the character was very poorly written, and everything about the way she was written made me sick to my stomach. But there can only be one most pointless character, the character that honestly made us scratch our heads to say, why are they even in the movie? What is their purpose for existing? And I think it's very appropriate that this year, the winner of the Raven Award for best, or rather most pointless character in a movie is none other than Arthur Fleck from Joker 2. I mean, seriously, when your whole movie exists to do away with everything built up from your first movie, the main character who you built up, that you've now just point by point taken and torn down to the point of his own death, makes the entirety and the entire existence of his character completely pointless. So I think this is a no-brainer win and victory here for Joker 2, for Arthur Fleck. This really is, by definition, the most pointless character of the year. And as you can see, a very strong vote for Arthur Fleck, 36% of the vote, in fact. Though there was a strong contingency for Dune Part 2, I was very much a part of the vote for the character of Chani for Dune Part 2. I thought that her performance and the entirety of that character was awful. Ben Parker, Madam Web, I think was a strong shout too. But Arthur Fleck, absolutely, to me, really just fits this category too well. As his character is so pointless, and the writing made it so. So congratulations to Arthur Fleck, Joker 2, for winning this prestigious Raven Award. All right, and for some people, this might be the biggest award of the evening. For others, it is a very fun joke that's been going on for a few years. For others, it is yet just another fun category at the Ravens. Whichever camp that you are in, we have a lot of shills this year, and we have a winner. And this is a fun one for me, at least this year. And that's all I'll say about that. So our nominees for best, or in this case, I keep wanting to say best or worst. Our nominees for Shill of the Year. These are people who we define as shills, people who we think are supporting or endorsing content without really thinking so. Maybe they're under the take from somebody through being paid. Maybe they're just mindlessly supporting something without really thinking about what it is that they're supporting. And they're just giving really bad takes. Again, there's a couple ways for us to look at this category, but there can only be 5 nominations this year for Show of the Year and only 1 winner. So our nominees for this year are Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Stuckman, Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers, John Campia, and yours truly, Odin of OMB Reviews. So not only am I a now first-time nominee in this category, but I was very surprised by this show of love and support by my people to nominate me for such a prestigious award. Some other fun facts here. Chris Stuckman has been nominated several times in the past. Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers is actually a 3-time nominee and won the last 2 times, in fact. So a lot of momentum going his way. Can he make it 3 for 3? We'll find out in a second. Dwayne Johnson, who has really come off in a very shilling way, especially in 2024, absolutely would deserve it. But really, to me, the most special nominee on this category is John Campia. John Campia is the shilliest of the shills. He has been the king shill for so long. In fact, so much so, even though, right, he's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? This is his 7th nomination in the 7 years that we've had the awards. Every year, he has been nominated this award, and to thus far has not been able to win, has not cracked the nut, has not been able to tell that he is a winner in any way. Will this be his year? So the real question is, were more people wanting to continue the joke with Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers? giving him his third Shill of the Year Raven Award. Were the contingency going after me, continuing the joke in that regard, going to win out here? Or were the people supporting John Campea as being truly a shill, by definition, really under a dictionary, you would find his name, to finally give him his first win? Let's find out, because the winner of this year's Raven for Shill of the Year, and ladies and gentlemen, history has finally been made, because now, after so many times, we can say that Mr. John Campea is officially a Shill of the Year at the Raven Awards. 7 nominations in 7 years, only 1 victory for John Campea. I believe he has said he's retiring from YouTube after this year, that he is stepping away from video work. He's going to do only podcasting, apparently. I don't know for sure. But if this is going to be one of the last times that John Campea is a big part of our YouTube world, and someone that we speak to or speak about in any way, hey, kills to go out on top, right, Mr. Campea? Man, can't tell you how shilling this guy truly is, and how happy I am that this guy is finally a winner at our Raven Awards, and that the streak of Jeremy has been broken. And you can also share this with Jeremy to say, how does it feel to lose to John Campea at something? But something tells me he'll be happy that it was for Shill of the Year. This dude has deserved it every year, but has always been beat out by somebody else who either shilled harder or was just not his year, because it was a joke year. And so can't say I'm happier. And by the way, I'm very also happy with these photos that I got for Shill of the Year. I tried to capture the essence of every person that was nominated. But Mr. Campea, congratulations, man. You are a king shill. And now it's official by winning the Raven for Shill of the Year. This was a very tight race, I will say. It was a very, very tight race. So 28.8%. He did still, win out in the end by a, large enough margin. But Chris Stuckman, 20% of the vote. Dwayne Johnson, 20% of the vote. Jeremy, 18.4%. And I will say I'm very happy to see only 8% for me. So I'm happy that most people did not really fall into that trap of going for the lulls there. It is funny, and Jeremy winning 3 times in a row would be hilarious, but happy that John Campea has finally become the bride. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, until now in the year of our Lord 2025. For the year of our Lord 2024, Mr. John Campea is officially a Shill of the Year at the Raven Awards. Congratulations. John, I'm proud of you. Couldn't happen to a bigger shill. You deserve it. You deserve it. Okay. Let's move on to our next category, then we'll jump back into the chat. So let me also wet my whistle. Ooh, my voice. Okay. Our next category is Most Critically Acclaimed Piece of Garbage Film of the Year. One that has been a controversial category in the past because people find it redundant for various ways. I just enjoy it because I like saying critically acclaimed piece of garbage. These are movies that we think are acclaimed in various ways. They either have a high critical acclaim because the critics love bad movies at times, or because there is a large contingency of our audience that loves the movie, when in reality the film really isn't all that good. I think back to Avengers Endgame, had a very high critic and audience score, but the film really wasn't all that good, right? In my opinion, that film was a piece of garbage. And so those are the kinds of things that we're thinking about here. Either films with high critic scores that were not that great, or movies that had very high praise from audiences as well. This is one where it's definitely blurred the lines a little bit. We might try to tone this one down next year to say we means more specifically critic scores only. But with that being said, I do think that the nominees here are all well-deserving. So our nominees for most critically acclaimed piece of garbage films of the year 2024 are Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, Civil War, This Is Me, Now, A Love Story, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Wicked Part 1. Always interesting to see. There was a lot of hatred for Deadpool and Wolverine, which shows in a couple other categories too. So interesting to see that one on here. This Is Me Now. I never heard of it before. I never want to see it ever. So yeah, was very surprised to see this one get in the nomination process. As you all know, I hated Godzilla X Kong. I find the movie to be atrocious. Happy to see it get nominated here. Civil War, I was actually a fan of. So I was a little sad to see this one here because I think a lot of people that voted for it and support it during the nomination process probably never actually saw it and are basing their opinions off of what I think are reviews by people who either themselves did not see it or completely misunderstood what the film was about. Does not matter, though, because there can only ever be one film that can be the most critically acclaimed piece of garbage, and that winner for this year is none other than the film I was just talking about, Civil War. Congratulations, Civil War. I don't think you deserve this one. I thought you were actually a pretty good film. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but the people have spoken, and I can't deny that there are definitely people who watched you earnestly, and did not like you because, again, I think some people went in with a preconceived notion of what the message of the movie was and kind of missed a huge part of what the film, at least for me and from my perspective, was trying to say, which was essentially going into the egos behind the media, how the media think of themselves as being so self-important to the point where they will even allow their very friends to die if it means getting the picture and getting the image just right. So I actually thought it did a great job exposing the egos of the media and not showing them as heroes, as some people kind of took it as. There was nothing heroic about what they did. So, again, everyone's a little bit different with their interpretations of this, but it won. And so very close battle throughout the process. So 32%, though, still went to Civil War, so it's still the clear winner here. 20.8% went to Wicked. 23.2% went to Godzilla X Kong. I was very happy to see that one get some more votes here because I don't know why people actually enjoy that nonsense, but hey, that's for them. And this is me now. Again, no one heard about it beforehand, and I don't think anyone will continue to have seen it or care to see it going into the future. Because what is that? What the heck is even that, as they say? All right, let's go ahead and jump back into the chat for a little bit. Let's see. Cap has no chance next year. Snow White sweeps. It very well could. No, yeah, I can see why you would think that. But yeah, Wicked comes out this year. Cthulhu, I nominate most useless, irrelevant main character. Ooh, nice. Caveat ties, you could create a Raven Awards group on critic lists. This is true. This is definitely true. Most annoying character would be a good category. Absolutely, could definitely change up the naming scheme a bit. Hardwick is 7 out of 13, has been failing a bit in those wins the last few times, it seems. Oof for Joker. Congratulations, Arthur. 6 for 13. Probably not a good category. If Joker gets nominated without him, there would be no movie. The movie itself is pointless. Agreed. Let's see. Hardwick saying, sorry, King and Rumsky saying, you know how woke TV shows are good for season 1 and then 2 plus blow chunks. Same for movie sequels now. It seems that way. Geek64 said, I would say most annoying is different than most pointless. That's a good point. Maybe changing it to most annoying in the future. We'll definitely have to consider that. I will write that down because if I don't, especially in my current sickened state, I will probably forget. So most annoying character. Can't even write correctly. To most, from most pointless. I like that because that might actually bring about some more nominations too. Come on, Campia says, so some people were showing where they stood. Let's go Stuckman, Odin Biggest Shill for math, numbers, and inflation talk. Yeah. May Campia be nominated again and lose again? I mean, yeah, seriously. Come on, troll vote. Jeremy. AI attempt to make Jeremy. That's a real photo. I voted Stuckman. Wanted to write in, vote for Eric Voss from New Rockstars. Hey, you can nominate him for next year. Campia, the Susan Lucci of the Ravens. Kincaid Rumsky, were you at a Renaissance fair when you took your picture of these awards? Romney, I wanted to see John Campia be the only one nominated for Shill of the Year, but he still loses because people chose to abstain. Yeah, that would have been funny. 7 for 14 for Hardwick. Congrats to Campia. Yep, Campia finally did it. I guess I should have played nearly every one of my picks won. Geek truth, man. Though I imagine most of the things I'm giving away, you probably already have. Sicer says he both deserved to win and also deserved to lose. That loser. Agreed. Trump got reelected and now Campia won. History is truly being made. Seriously. Hardwick. Zoe Saldana has won Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars. I don't care, Hardwick. Get your Oscars talk out of here. Kimberly G. I voted for Stuckman. Again, a very strong, solid pick nonetheless. Zach Pope is without a doubt the chill of the year. I don't know. Jeremy was really excited when he won. It was like a kid who finally met the real Santa. Forever Sci-Fi, Stuckman is more of a sellout than a shill. That's a good point. But again, that's kind of what a shill is in a lot of ways. I've lost track of bowling at this point. I'll know soon enough if I did okay. Again, as I said, I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know y'all's scores and the winners next Monday. So not this Monday, but next Monday, just because of my illness. I have a better chance of winning Cap 4, making $200 million. 8 out of 15 for Hardwick. Okay, he got one right. That's good. 7 for 15 for Kimberly G. Geek Truth. I think the Monsterverse are dumb, fun movies. I enjoy them. If I want a well-written Godzilla film, I'll watch -1. But that just shows you can have a big movie with great Godzilla stuff with a well-written script. We can ask for that. That's my issue. It's like, why are we allowing bad CGI-ness, like CGI fest movies to get so much, and it's not even much, like compared to other films. Like the Monsterverse movies do not make a whole lot of money. Like, it's because of how much they make in China and the fact that they get a very special deal because they have part of their company owned by China. But I think last I checked, the Chinese part of Legendary is like not a part of it anymore or something. So in the future, it may not actually help them. Just been judging from reviews from people that have seen this movie. I can see why you got nominated for Shill of the Year. Oh, please. That's why you need to watch the actual movie itself and not just take the word of others. Recef the Cripple. What's going on? Oh, did you just say I have an L take? Bro. Here's the thing. Please let me know first if you watched the movie. Did you actually watch the movie? Talking to you. That's where I want to start before we have any other conversation. Abomination. Oh, a slight tangent about Civil War. There's a game called The Headliners. It's really fun to watch because you get more points if you take pictures of other players in danger from monster attacks. That is pretty fun. Me to say butts. Haven't gotten one in the last 3 to 4. Oh, no. I support most annoying character. Okay. Sounds good. The people have spoken. Jimmy A. If most annoying was category, it would have to be any Jack Black character. Ooh, Minecraft. That could definitely be a contender next year. John Evan Bear. Do you think Captain America 4 will be the worst MCU movie released this year? Yeah. I don't think there will necessarily be good ones, but we have a hard time nominating all these bad movies here. Imagine how tough it is for the Razzies to narrow down their nominees. Well, over the years, their nominations have kind of gotten ridiculous too. King and Rumsky, I voted for Godzilla vs. Kong, but maybe you would enjoy the Monsterverse more if you looked at it like pro wrestling. No, because movies and pro wrestling are not the same. Pro wrestling is like a TV show. It's like a soap opera. Movies are movies. So, again, there's not as much of a crossover there as you would think. All right, let's jump back into it. Going into our next category for the evening. So, getting into some of the big ones now. Most overrated film of 2024. So, these are the films where doesn't matter if it's critics, doesn't matter if it's audience. These are just what we thought were overrated by the people talking about them. No matter what their class might be, no matter where they might come from, these were just overrated for various reasons. And so the nominees for most overrated film of the year are Civil War. That one comes back up again. Alien Romulus. Wicked Part 1. Deadpool and Wolverine. And Dune Part 2. I think all of these fit the category for various reasons. A lot of people thought that Alien Romulus was better than others. I know for me, myself, I enjoyed the film more than most other people did. So I could see why people would think it was overrated in that capacity, did not get nearly as much criticism as some thought it should have. Wicked, very similar. People thought that was being overrated by critics and the people that liked it. Deadpool Wolverine, you can understand that too, right? A lot of people really soured on the movie, especially in the wake of the various nonsense coming out of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, with the lawsuit being brought against them and kind of their personalities being exposed in different ways. And then Dune Part 2 also, right, with the movie getting very high praise and yet the story itself not really being all that strong, and the character of Chani especially being a big part of why the story did not work as well as it should have. But there can only be one most overrated film of the year, and so the winner of the Raven Award for the most overrated film of 2024 is none other than Deadpool and Wolverine. I was surprised. Very surprised. This, as I said, there were going to be some shocks. There were going to be some surprises tonight. This is one of the biggest ones for me. I knew, again, there was a very strong contingency of people that really thought this movie was overrated, because it seemed like it had universal love, universal praise. And it still does, right? But clearly there are a lot of people out there that did not like the film, or at the very least thought it was maybe getting a little bit too much love. And so Deadpool Wolverine winning a lot of Ravens tonight, mostly positive. This is a negative one, though, as it has been deemed the most overrated of the year. So congratulations, Deadpool Wolverine, for winning your Raven Award. And as you can see, this was probably also one of the tightest races of the entire Raven Awards. 23.2% was the final vote for Deadpool Wolverine, beating out Dune Part 2, which got 20% of the vote, Wicked Part 1, 20% of the vote, 18.4% for Alien Romulus, and 16.8% for Civil War. This is also one of the lowest abstain categories, so people wanted to vote in this one. We're very passionate about their choices, and as you can see, it was just a few votes, because I want to say in total we had maybe a little over 100. I have to take out the trolls that came and spammed. I want to say we had between 100 and 150 people who voted in the awards this year, which unfortunately is not as high as we've had in the past, but with all the nonsense with the trolls, I think it's okay. But the fact that really just a few votes really swung this one towards Deadpool Wolverine, and I think there was a lot of last minute votes, and it was probably because of the nonsense going on with Blake Lively and everything really soured the film for some people. So yeah, most overrated film of the year goes to Deadpool Wolverine. Congratulations on your victory tonight. That moves us to the positive category now of most underrated film of the year. These are the films that we thought were not appreciated enough, that deserved more love, more attention, and always a fun category, because there's usually some good movies in here that fly under the radar, even for people like us who watch a lot more movies than most people. So the nominees for most underrated movie of the year are The Fall Guy, Late Night with the Devil, The Bike Riders, Cabrini, Hijack 1971, and The Last Stop in Yuma County. So this is another one where we had a tie for the nominations, and so we have 6 nominees in the category this year, and I'm very happy about essentially all of them, right? Fall Guy, I thought was not underrated. I thought it got just about the right amount of praise that it deserved, but Laid Out with the Devil, absolutely underrated. A film that more people deserve to see. Bike Riders, honestly, one of my favorite films from last year. It's in my top 3 of films from 2024. Deserved so much more love, so much more attention. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. Cabrini, a very powerful movie. Again, could have been better, but also still very, very good. You don't have to be Catholic either to appreciate it. Hijack 1971. This was a film I'd not heard of before. It's on my watch list right now. I have not had a chance to see it yet, but I've heard great things about it. And then I just got to see yesterday The Last Stop in Yuma County, and I loved it. The ending goes off the rails a little bit too much, but the opening shot is brilliant. Great cinematography. Like, cinematography of this movie is breathtaking. This one deserved a lot more love this year, and probably deserved even a victory in cinematography. That's how good it was. And thoughtful it was. But if you've not seen it yet, I'd recommend it. It's a very interesting movie to check out. But hey, we're here to award Ravens, not go on and on and on. So our most underrated film of 2024 is not that surprising, based off of our audience, but also based off of what people deem to be, appropriate and fair for a movie. And so the winner here is The Fall Guy. Congratulations to The Fall Guy being our most underrated film of the year, according to the fans, according to the people who vote in these Raven Awards. And this was one where It was a very big victory in that about a quarter of the vote went to The Fall Guy, but very interesting that it was 27.2% of the vote. Bike Riders actually got some love here. 24% of the vote went to the Bike Riders, so very cool to see Bike Riders almost pull it off, but Fall Guy had a little bit higher of a profile. More people have seen it. More people can speak to how good or bad the movie would have been, and so clearly more people thought it was good and not appreciate it enough. So congratulations. Also, it was cool to see Late Night with the Devil get 17.6% there, so a very strong third place showing for that movie. I can vouch for Late Night with the Devil, Bike Riders as well, and I can't wait to see Hijack's 1971, and also Last Stop in Yuma County was great too. But Fall Guy, congratulations on winning Most Underrated Film of 2024. All right, and that leads us to our next category, and we will do this and the next category since they are categories tied together, and then we'll take probably our last break of the evening before getting to our final categories. I think that's where we are now. But anyway, our best pointless remake, reboot, sequel, prequel. We all know that Hollywood is unoriginal. They are out of ideas. And if you look at the release calendar for this year, next year, and the next several years, you see that that is proven. Any list that comes out of the MCU or from Disney or from any company, it's a remake. It's a remake of some kind. It's a reboot. It's a sequel. It's a prequel. It's one of the following things. But there are some that even though they're pointless, even though we don't need them, sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're actually fun. Sometimes they're actually entertaining for a lot of people. So here are those nominations for the best pointless remake, reboot, sequel, prequel of the year. And again, these are the ones that, yes, they're pointless remakes, etc., but at least they weren't terrible movies. Our nominees are Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, A Quiet Place, Day One, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, as many of you know, I was not a fan of Frozen Empire myself, but I can understand why. There were still a lot of people that did enjoy it. I personally thought Quiet Place Day One should have gotten a little bit more love here, but also can understand why people might not have been too high on that one either. However, there can only be one that we consider to be the best, that is able to surpass its pointlessness, that's able to lift itself beyond the noise of people saying, do we really need another one of these? Can Hollywood just come up with something different? I think that of all of these, the winner here, I think was able to kind of present itself in a way where it was able to show that, guess what, these movies can still be made even when the owner of the company has changed. And so that, of course, means that our winner of the best pointless film of the year is Deadpool and Wolverine. So congratulations to Deadpool and Wolverine getting the win here. It's always amazing to see films, go from winning most overrated film of the year now to take on also the winner here for best pointless remake, reboot, etc. Again, not that surprised to see that this won this category. 33.6% of the vote is what it won, so it won very handedly. Second place was 20% of the vote going to Twisters, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at 19.2%, Quiet Place Day 1 14.4%, and then Ghostbusters at 11.2%. So congratulations to Deadpool Wolverine for taking the victory here for the best pointless remake reboot. Now, of course, we all know also, as there are good remake reboots, etc., there are also a lot of bad ones. There tend to be more bad ones than good ones, it seems. And so our worst nominees this year for the remake, reboot, sequel, prequel category are Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux, The Crow remake, Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, also an animated film on our list, Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Very surprised to see that one there. And Gladiator 2. A very strong category this year. A lot of very bad movies and even worse remakes or continuations of stories, movies that no one asked for, movies that just did not need to be made. But there can only be one that is seen to be the worst. I think all of them on here deserve their nomination, but only one is the worst, and that one is, without a shadow of a doubt, a very easy one for me to predict, and that is, of course, Joker 2, Folie à Deux. Congratulations to Joker 2 for winning the Raven Award here. Another one of the worst categories for Joker 2. Deserves it very, very easily. As this one truly was pointless in every way, to the point where he left the theater saying, what is the point of any of this? Why did I invest any time in this universe, Todd Phillips, that you created, when everything in this movie just did away with everything you've previously established? Now the character will fall into obscurity. Even the Joker itself can no longer be enjoyed because of what we know happens in this movie. So congratulations on making a pointless film, Todd Phillips. This film easily won 46.4% of the vote. The Crow got a strong contingency, though, 20%. Gladiator 2 at 16.8%. I was probably more on that side, but Joker 2 definitely deserves the hatred that it is getting, and kudos for them being able to do that. All right. Let's head back into the chat for a second. Kimberly G. Jack Black and Aquafina for most annoying. Doesn't matter which future movie. It's a great point. Jess Pena. No way my dad watched the movie and said it was so boring it took him 2 days to finish it. Also, I fell for that crap once with Final Destination 4, not falling for it again. Which one? Context. However, I could easily see Thunderbolts being worse than Captain America. I could see that, but honestly, from what I've heard, I think it's from the Film Threat guys, they say it's actually not bad. From the people that they think have seen it. Wait, keep the most pointless character 1 more year so people can nominate Steve in Minecraft, because there's no way his character is going to matter in that mess they're making. Yeah, but also he'll likely be annoying, so it'll still work. Slicer Neons, I'm very sorry that happened, man. Again, we have the ability to set those things, and you have the option to either do manual, which means I decide when the ad plays, or automatic. And then in the automatic setting, you have the ability to choose most conservative, which means the least amount, and then also to choose the most, like, I guess, liberal, but I don't know that that's the word that they use for it, but the ones that have the most. I tried to have it set to that one, but honestly, there's so very few people that even mention it, so I don't know if maybe it's something on your end or not, but I do apologize that keeps happening, man. Let's see. Wendy Hunter saying, oh wow, 8 out of 16 for Hardwick. Dang, man. King and Rumsky, Deadpool defines the most the annoying main category. I see what you did there. Key64, I just watched Highlander for the first time last night. New context every time you say there can only be one. That's true. Voted for Bike Riders. I agree. Fall Guy has my vote as well. Boo. No, it's okay. Hardwick, Bowling 9 out of 17. There you go. Finally got one for Fall Guy. Rob D, Bike Riders budget, I think, was 40 million, 15 million. Of that was probably for the cost of the amount of cigarettes the characters smoked. That, and probably also the choppers they had. Rage Grifter is in the chat. I need to see Bike Riders. It's so good. It really, really is. Does Sonic 3 count? They introduced new characters. It's still a sequel. So yeah, it definitely counts. Hardwick, Bowling 10 out of 18. There you go. Wendy Hunter has some points. Glad to hear it. Quiet Place was boring. I disagree. I thought it was fun. Geek Truth, I voted Twisters. As far as an unwanted sequel goes, it was far better than I expected. Agreed. It was not one that I ever felt the need to watch again, though. And that's why I don't think that film deserves as much love as it got. I understand the argument, because it's definitely better than it had any right to be, but it's not necessarily one that you want to watch. Jimmy A. Bill Skarsgård rocking that Gen Z modern mullet in The Crow. Oh, man. Hardwick, 11 out of 19 for Hardwick. There you go. Wendy got another one. John Evan Bear, I never thought I would see the day that Gladiator would get a sequel. Seriously. It should have stayed that way, too, where it just didn't get one. Just Benny, I said it once, I'll say it again. Todd Phillips sucks at sequels. Orange Chat, damn, thought The Crow would have made that worst remake. Again, I never saw the remake of The Crow, but I heard enough about it to know how bad it was. But yeah, Joker 2, if we just had a worst remake category, that would have easily won, I think. But the fact that we do extend it to all unoriginal content, Yeah, Joker 2 had that one. Rob D voted for Joker 2 for the worst sequel, but Megamind 2 is objectively bad. The film is plagued with tons of animation errors. Yeah, I was surprised to get nominated because I didn't even know that there was a follow-up or another movie. Glad that it's basically always leaves my mind not too long after I ever mention it. Let's see, Laura. Joker 2, because Marxists must destroy and degrade everything. Facts. Kimberly G, 8 out of 19, pick The Crow. Dang. Again, got a lot of love early on, but as time went on, Joker 2 just soured much more people. Kat G says, if you open YouTube for the chat and DuckDuckGo for the video, you don't get interrupted by ads. Shh. All right, Kat G, 3000, giving Slicer Neons a little bit of advice there. All right, so definitely check that out. Did she delete the comment? Whoa. Did you delete the comment, Kat G, or did someone delete it for you? Did YouTube delete it? Because they can't delete it now that I have it highlighted. I just accidentally deleted. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. At first I was like, whoa, did we just see that get deleted on stream? Bruce says, I use ad blocker. Yeah, so I know that some ad blockers can be detected and it messes with your experience of the stream sometimes. But yeah, if you're having issues with ads, I don't mind. I don't mind. How are we saying? As you were starting to talk to explain ads, I got an ad break. Couldn't do it again if we tried. Dang, man. That's ridiculous. I get interruptions. I apologize. Rage Grifter, I just woke up. Hey, and we're getting towards the end of the show, man. So I guess you made it in time for the final categories. But yeah, use whatever method y'all can to avoid that. All right. I think that we're ready to start to go into our last categories of the evening. Because I probably do need to wrap up relatively soon just for the sake of my voice to get some tea. Maybe a little bit of fudge, some dessert, some king cake. So my parents are from New Orleans. So my mom has this family fudge recipe, delicious. And also brought a king cake in as well, as we are in the midst of Lundi Gras tomorrow, Mardi Gras on Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, but most importantly, Ash Wednesday, this Wednesday, start of the Lenten season. Let's see, Hardwick saying, I use uBlock Origin and don't get any problems. There you go. Gary saying, literally got an ad when you talked ads. That's so funny. That's so funny. All right, let's jump back into it, everybody. So I think this should be the last section of awards for the evening. So I will just say it's been a very fun show tonight, but we're not done. We still have, but Neon says, you don't mind. I was going to forgive you, but after saying that, you leave me no choice but to have to declare you excommunicado. I meant I don't mind if you find a way around the ads. That's what I meant to say. I don't know if you took it a different way. I don't mind if you find a way around the ads, personally. That's just me. All right. So let's go ahead and move now on to getting into our top categories again. I always like this one being higher on the list because it's one thing to make your movie for a lot of money or for a, kind of a midway budget, but to make it on very little money, if anything, is even more impressive. And so we have here our best low budget movies of the year, and our nominees are as follows. Terrifier 3, $2 million. Am I Racist? $3 million. Late Night with the Devil, only $2 million. Thinking back to the movie now, it's even more impressive. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, $15 million. Rogue Elements, a Ryan Drake story, $300,000. That is the Critical Drinker film. So a very interesting grouping of movies here. A documentary in the Superman movie. I've heard great things about it. Late Night with the Devil, as you know, I saw recently and loved it. Am I Racist? One of the best comedies of 2023, made for very little money too. Terrifier 3 kind of, really set the stage for micro-budgeted movies, and with $2 million budget for the third film and the third installment, in addition to getting in theaters because of them working directly with the theaters themselves and subverting, going against the Hollywood machine, truly impressive. But only one can be seen as the best low-budget movie, and this one, honestly, was a bit of a shocker for me, because our best low-budget movie of 2024 is, for me at least, surprisingly, Am I Racist for $3 million. And I will explain why this is a huge surprise, okay? First off, congratulations to the Daily Wire. Congratulations to Matt Walsh. Congratulations to all those involved in Am I Racist for winning the Raven for Best Low-Budget Movie of the Year. And that's because if you look at these numbers here, okay, 36% of the vote did indeed go to Am I Racist? So that is a huge portion. But what was interesting to me was early on, Terrifier 3 was on a tear. Like the earliest votes, it was like almost 80-20 for Terrifier. But as time went on, I guess as Am I Racist became more readily available to people, or more people talked about it, more and more votes started to come in for that one instead. So Terrifier 3 getting 15.5%, still 15.2%, losing even to Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, 19.2% for that film. But yeah, was not expecting this movie. I mean, this was a movie where every time I was checking the votes, I really, because I had to delete the main vote on Google Forms, which gives me the early pie charts. These I don't get until I actually go into the Google Sheets and then create a chart from the entire column. But every time I looked, it seemed like Terrifier 3 was on top. But clearly, there were a lot of people also voting for Am I Racist, which, again, very handily won. So congratulations to Am I Racist, Daily Wire, for winning this Raven Award. One of the first ones for them, if I'm not mistaken. I think What Is a Woman may have gotten, at least nominations I know of. It got nominations a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But Am I Racist? Congratulations on winning the Raven for Best Low-Budget Movie. It was also, I think, arguably one of the best comedies of last year. So I think we could definitely argue for almost any of the films on this list. All right, going now into then Best Story in Films. We had our worst story in film. Now, what do we think had the best story in film? The nominees for this year are Saturday Night. Hey, people were asking before about Saturday Night. It did get nominated for Best Story in Film. Inside Out 2. One Life. Nosferatu, and The Wild Robot. As I mentioned, I've not seen Inside Out 2, so I cannot speak to that, but I heard it was a pretty good movie. One Life, in my opinion, is a phenomenal movie that you need to watch. Anthony Hopkins does an amazing job. A very underrated film that not a lot of people have seen. I think that Critical Drinker reviewed this movie, and so he put a lot of attention on it that otherwise would not have gotten, so shout out to him for kind of leading me as well to discover this movie. It's a beautiful movie. Saturday Night, I think, is hilarious. Is very well written, very well put together. However, sorry, my dog just freaked out because there's a computer on that chair back there, and the computer fell over and freaked her out. I think she was trying to climb up there. Didn't realize it was there. Anyway, Nosferatu, again, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I could see why this one got some attention. And then Wild Robot was a beautiful story. I mean, no way around that one. But there can only be one best story in film, and so our winner for the Raven Award for Best Story in Film for 2024 is none other than The Wild Robot. Congratulations, The Wild Robot. This movie just makes me happy. This movie just brings joy to my life. It's a movie that, again, not a lot of people have seen. I think more people need to see it. It deserves your love. It deserves your attention. And the story is quite beautiful in many respects. I like the beats that it takes. I like the directions that it goes in. And I like how the film ends with, yeah, you could theoretically make another story, but there's no need for it. It kind of ends in this self-contained package, which is very refreshing for animated films to be made in such a way. And a great story about family as well. So congratulations to The Wild Robot. This was a fun race to watch here, right? 37.6% of the vote did go to Wild Robot, so a very clean win. Nosferatu, though, did get 20.8% of the vote, and One Life got 16.8%. One Life was getting a lot of love in this category for a good while, but Wild Robot, clearly the winner here. Congratulations on Wild Robot for Best Story in Film for the year 2024. Okay, we're getting now into our top three categories. So we've got Lifetime Achievement Award, the most overlooked person. Always a fun category. This is when we We sometimes commemorate those that we have lost. Sometimes we commemorate those that we feel have just not been appreciated to a degree that they deserve. Sometimes we could say this is like a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's why it's in the title. But really, we're trying more so to go for overlooked people too. So it's a good combo. It's a good mix, right? Of people that really it's important for us to remember because of their recent passing or because they just don't get as much love as they deserve. And so our nominees for this year for Lifetime Achievement Award, always a very passionate nomination process. Also, people are very strong in their nominees and in their votes. So the nominees are Dennis Quaid, Anthony Hopkins, Carl Weathers, rest in peace, James Earl Jones, rest in peace, and J.K. Simmons. I love this list. It's a great list. We always have good lists for these, and I always appreciate them. Obviously, I have two legends in Carl Weathers and James Earl Jones who have passed on, and so it's good for us just to acknowledge them for their careers of phenomenal roles, phenomenal work. Dennis Quaid, I think, very much is underappreciated in many ways. His role in The Substance this year was incredibly good. J.K. Simmons also, I think, doesn't get enough love and praise as he deserves for the very broad range of performances that he gives. Anthony Hopkins, what else can we say? He's iconic and really, I think, made a name for himself even during the COVID era, because out of all of the Hollywood actors and all the actors that were putting out nonsense, he was the one putting out this very cute videos, playing the piano, his cat. He just seems like a very wholesome person. And so, again, all of them deserve their nominations, but there's only one true winner of this award. And I think that, again, all of them would have deserved it for different reasons, but this one definitely feels very appropriate. And the winner this year for the Raven Award for the Lifetime Achievement Award is none other than the legend James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones, most of us grew up with him as the voice, at least for my generation, the voice of Mufasa. For the previous generation, the voice of Darth Vader. Obviously, I connect with that too, but when I was growing up, it was Mufasa. And actually, I could even argue that it was not the voice of Mufasa, but his role in The Sandlot that I grew up with, not even realizing who he was at that time in my life. So many iconic films, so many iconic performances that we could think of, and just an all-around gifted performer. So happy for him to be our winner of the Raven Award this evening and this year for most underrated, or rather most overlooked person, but really our Lifetime Achievement Award. Again, may God's light shine upon you. Through the mercy of God, may you rest in peace. And much love to James Earl Jones. I know that everyone has a different story about that's when you know how much of a career and how large of a career you've had, when people from every generation can say, oh, this person meant me, this character to me in this part of my life, this person meant me to this part of their life. And when one person can encapsulate several generations in different iconic characters, it's brilliant. So James Earl Jones, much love to you, good sir, and may you rest in peace. And congratulations on the victory here of the Ravens. This was one that was also, there was some battle in the beginning between him and Carl Weathers. I'm sure Carl Weathers will be nominated again in the future. That's the beautiful thing about this award, too, is that if you don't win one year, you can get nominated the next year. The only exception to this award, or the only caveat, is that once you win, you can't get nominated again, because obviously, what's the point? So congratulations, James Earl Jones, 35.2%. Dennis Quaid got 16%. Carl Weathers, though, did get 22.4%. Surprisingly low result for Anthony Hopkins, but again, a lot of these names can come up again in the future, and I think all of these guys deserved this show of love and respect. But shout out to the man and the myth, the legend, James Earl Jones, for his very well-deserved victory here. Okay, our top two awards. We could have had an easy title, like Worst Movie of 2024. We could have said this is the crappiest movie of 2024. We could have made it that simple, but no. For years, we had the Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson Award for Excellence Crap World Building until just about a year ago, when we thought it very appropriate at the time to add a new name to this list of some of the worst creators and some of the worst minds to ever work in Hollywood with some of the worst ideas ever be put to screen. People who we could say honestly have destroyed cinema in various ways in their careers. And that is why I am proud to say that we don't have a worst film of the year, but we do have the Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, and Zack Snyder Award for excellence in crap world building, or in other words, the worst movie of 2024. Our nominees this year are Joker 2, Folie à Dieu, Borderlands, Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargiver, The American Society of Magical You-Know-What, and Megaflopolis, as I very fondly say of it, as it was a huge flop. All these films well deserving of their place here on this list. Joker 2 has been sweeping these negative categories, winning several Ravens this evening. American Society has lost in every category it's been nominated in. Borderlands has not won anything yet. Megaflopolis is the first nomination of the night for it. And then Rebel Moon Part 2, Scargiver has been nominated at least one other time this evening and has not yet won. So who will take home the worst movie of the year? The winner, we can say, for the Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, and Zack Snyder Award for Excellence in Crap World Building. I love how much of a mouthful that title is. I'm never getting rid of it. That's a category that will never change. But the winner for the worst movie of 2024 is none other than Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Okay, this is one I thought Joker 2 had it. I thought Joker 2 is getting so much hate this year and well-deserved. But my vote kept going to this one, right? This is one where it's like when I was looking at my ballot, I thought, you know what? This was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I felt like my life was completely wasted. Every second watching it. Could not wait for it to end. Hated the fact that Gary made us watch the original version, let alone the long extended edition version. And it's just everything about this film I hate. Zack Snyder is a terrible filmmaker. It sickens me that there are people that still defend him and say in any way that he is good. Happy to see this thing win the worst movie of the year. So congratulations to Zack Snyder. You suck as a filmmaker, and you made one of the worst films of last year. And according to the Ravens, the absolute worst film of 2024. So here is the count for the Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, Zack Snyder Award for Excellent Crap World Building. Also very apropos that a Zack Snyder movie is winning in this category. But it was not an easy win. All right, Joker 2 did put up a fight, 25.6% of the vote. American Society did get 20.8% of the vote. Rebel Moon, though, a clean win, almost 10 points there. And Joker 2, again, still one of our worst films. Doesn't mean that these are not the worst films. Just because Joker 2 didn't win does not mean it's not one of the worst films. But yeah, Rebel Moon Part 2, arguably the worst movie of the year. So says the Ravens, and I definitely support and agree with everything that came from this category. Okay, well, you know what that means. It's that time of the evening, everybody, where we get into the biggest award that we can give, and it is us to award the best movie of 2024. There is no long title. This is as big as it gets. It's as big as it gets. Okay? And after we finish this category, we will not only announce our winner, we'll also go through the ranking of where each of the films' average score was. This was a ranked choice voting system. We adopted this at the very beginning of the Ravens back 7 years ago. Crazy, we've been doing this for 7 years as a way of trying to award the most liked movie. So not just the one that gets the most first place votes, but that movie that gets first place votes, but also those second, third, fourth place votes. Those votes that really show that it's universally given approval for. As I'm running out of water. Probably good that we're on the last award then. So, without further ado, let's go through our nominees for the best movie of the year. And for this one, we do have an allowance of up to, we usually get 10 nominations, but I believe we had a tie this year. So there's actually 11 nominations this year for best movies of 2024. The nominees are Deadpool and Wolverine, Dee Dee, Dune Part 2, Inside Out 2. Nosferatu. No relation to the other two twos. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Strange Darling. The Fall Guy. The Substance. Transformers 1. And The Bike Riders. So, very strong list of movies this year. I was so happy that even though they did not get the most nominations, they got enough to make it onto this list. Happy to see Dee Dee on here. Very underrated film. Everyone should see it. Strange Darling. Y'all know my thoughts on that one at this point. Bike Riders. Happy to see Transformers 1 on this list too. I thought it was a very, very underrated film. The best Transformers film I've ever seen, which doesn't say much, but does say quite a bit. And a lot of the other films we've already seen in other categories, in other positive categories this year. But even with that being the case, we know, just like with so many of these categories, there can only be one winner. Even though we have had two winners in the past for other categories. Fun fact on that. But only one best winner this year for Best Movie of the Year. And so our best movie, and again, I think for various reasons, a lot of these movies do deserve their place on this list. It shows also a very wide, eclectic taste of the fans, from the high-end art of films like Nosferatu and The Substance, to the indie darlings like Strange Darling and Dee Dee, to the more mainstream fare like Deadpool, Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Inside Out 2, Fall Guy. But only one can win. And so our winner of the Best Movie of the Year, and according to the Ravens, the best movie of 2024, and you're going to be shocked. I know I was. Because the winner of the Raven for Best Movie of the Year, Nosferatu. As I mentioned throughout the night, there were several categories where Nosferatu wasn't able to edge out victories. But there was always that strong contingency, that 20 to 25% contingency. And it showed quite a bit in this final category. Because not only did it get a lot of first place votes, but as I said before, it got a lot of those top 3, top 4 spots. But I must also say, there was another film you were probably thinking was going to get the number 1 spot this year. But towards the end, and I think it's because of the controversy surrounding some of the stars of the movie, it started getting a lot of 11th place votes. And that was enough to turn the tide for Nosferatu, which did indeed get the highest score and therefore win Best Movie of 2024. Not the one that I bet many of you, if any of you, were expecting to win, especially if you know my audience, especially if you know where general populations are. But not my favorite movie of the year, but I respect it. And one that I think a lot of people will either be very happy with or very sad with. By the way, Mr. White, woo, dude, thank you, man. He just gave a $200 super chat. I really do appreciate you, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will get to that in a second, man. But thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. But Nosferatu, congratulations. Best movie of the year. And let's go into the rankings here because, again, it was pretty close all around. And there was no clear overall favorite. In previous years, we've had movies with very high rankings, like universally loved, universally acclaimed. This year, it was a bit more of a middling batch. And that could be the case where people said there weren't really a lot of great films this year. I would argue that a lot of the films we just saw on that list were actually really good. As you all know, I speak highly of films like Dee Dee and Strange Darling. But even films like The Fall Guy, people really enjoy. Deadpool, Wolverine, people really enjoy. Nosferatu, people really enjoyed and appreciated the art and the craft of it. But let's look at these final rankings. So as obviously we know, the number 1 film was Nosferatu, a 5.23. These are out of 11, right? So 11 movies. You're able to rank the film either in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. place. So the ranking of Nosferatu was 5.23. The second place movie was actually Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at 5.3. So obviously another film, more mainstream. People saw, people liked. I was not a fan of it, but clearly the voters quite fond of it. So our number 2 film of the year, we could argue, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at 5.3. The number 3 spot finally was Dune Part 2. As I said, that ending vote was really harsh against Deadpool and Wolverine. But Dune Part 2, 5.41 score for Dune Part 2. Finally, Deadpool and Wolverine at 5.47. So very tight race between those two movies, but dropped all the way down to the 4th spot. 5th went to Transformers 1, 5.8. Happy to see that film high on the list. Fall Guy at 5.83. The Bike Riders at 5.89. Was happy to see that film get as high of a score as it did. There's a lot of middling reviews for it. The Substance at 6.2. Strange Darling at 6.3. Sad to see that film down there. Inside Out 2 at 6.33. Surprised to see that one as low as it was. And obviously, I was very sad and very disappointed that DD got a 7.36, but also no one saw it. So naturally, it got those final positions because it's like, why would I give a high score to a film I have not seen? So anyway, that is the final ranking. Those are our best movies of 2024. But the best one of all, according to our Raven Awards this evening and our audience, Nosferatu. You won't hear that at the Oscars tonight, which is why we boycott them, because not only are they stupid and pointless, but they're also just not worth it anymore. Thank you all very much for watching. We're going to go through y'all's comments. First off, Mr. Roy, let me go ahead and just refresh this real quick. So thank you again for a $200 super chat. He says here, great show. Get well soon, Odin. Sorry I have not been active lately. I have been very busy at work, but with a recent promotion and schedule change at work, I should hopefully be more active in the near future. Well, Mr. Roy, thank you for being here nonetheless when you've been able to. Always appreciate your support. He's one of the Chosen of Valhalla members here on YouTube. And always very much supportive of the channel. Been around for a long time. And happy to see you here, man. And thank you so much again for that love, man. Appreciate you. Also, Gatekeeper has now a member for 7 months in a row at the Citizen of Asgard level. Appreciate you. Okay. King and Rumsky says, you can call me King Cake Rumsky for today only. Wouldn't that be more appropriate on Fat Tuesday? Shorty Short saying, excommunicated. How dare you? What are you trying to say? All right, we did several categories there towards the end, so let's say if we can get through these. Jimmy A, so I take it Late Night with the Devil was not super demonic then. When it gets demonic, it gets demonic. I do want to give that warning, but luckily there's also a lot of other stuff too. Hardwick, I'm bullying 12 out of 20. Dang. Made say butts, I get 2 points. I don't totally suck. There you go. Shorty Short, am I racist? The white guy smiles. Seriously, Hardwick. I thought am I racist was a shoe-in for that category, so I bet 17 points on it. It's a bold strategy. Master of Gaming, I've been killing it with my Raven Awards and Oscar predictions. Good for you, Master of Gaming. The question is, did you actually do well in those high point totals? Because you can get 20 out of 24 categories, but if you get the 4 highest point categories wrong, that could kick you off. Made you say butts voted Nosferatu. I think I just gave it to Nosferatu. 12 out of 21 for Hardwick. Geek Truth. I may have won the bowling had I played, but I would defer my giveaway to someone else in that hypothetical situation. Yeah, it's also why we don't like that, because we don't let people defer. It makes things too complicated. Claps from Laura. Guess I might have missed something, but not seeing Wild Robot. Oh, bro, yeah, seriously, you need to watch it. It's good. Jimmy A, Lifetime Achievement Awards might be the best category, respectful, and a cool way to spotlight some great talent. Agreed. I love it. Oh, yeah, I think he's a shoo-in. Hackman is a shoo-in for 2025's Ravens, no doubt. Hardwick, I'm bowling 13 out of 22. There you go. Again, that's why it's Lifetime Achievement / overlooked. So it's meant to carry both. Hardwick, James Earl Jones' voice was the first voice that wasn't a relative that I acknowledged and memorized when I was a baby. Boom. Geek Truth, I voted Jones, Vader, Mufasa, Sandlot. He was among the most prominent part of my childhood as far as film goes. Agreed. Agreed. Rob D, I think everyone already knows what I voted for crap world building. Jimmy A didn't watch Megaflopolis, but it just looked like an Inception, but with debauchery. Yep. Hardwick Bold 13 out of 23. Orange Chat, how has American Society lost so many is quite odd. That movie literally was pulled from theaters because of how bad it was. Because no one saw it. That's why. No one saw it. Because people heard how bad it was and never wanted to subject themselves to it. That's the issue is, you know, we could try to create a purity test, but it would be like, okay, so we need to prove people have seen every movie before they vote. Again, it's hard to do that. And honestly, we do this for fun, right? And so there's always going to be that level to it, unfortunately. Bruce says, I love Sucker Punch. It's okay to like bad movies. Kimberly G, 9 for 23. Dude. Now, if you had 9 of the highest categories, then maybe. Someone said Transformers 1. I don't remember what I voted for. Mission Impossible. Hardwick and the Night, 13 for 24. Dang. Bruce, shocked. That was different. Yeah, I told you. It was crazy. When I saw, like, when I was doing the final tallies on that, I'm like, whoa, Nosferatu coming seemingly out of nowhere. But again, there was a huge swell of anti-Deadpool Wolverine hate towards the end that drove their score down. Rob D, 2024 wasn't a really memorable year for me for movies. For me, though, nothing will ever top 2005. There were some good films, though. Again, Mr. Roy, there's a super chat again. I do appreciate it. You are awesome. Jimmy A, did not expect that. Don't think I picked that one. I'm surprised by Nosferatu. I am too. Orange Chat, 134 out of 300. I did all right. Okay. I'll have to do the final tallies myself. So I will, again, if you did the Ravens, screw the Oscars. If you did the Ravens bowling, I will get those tallied up soon. But we will not announce winners until next Monday. So, again, no stream tomorrow. I'll put a post up about that to remind y'all. No stream tomorrow, as I need a break, and also my family's in town. But, yeah. 10 for 24, Kimberly G. That's not terrible. Again, even though, Hardwick did 13, you did 10. If you had more higher valued categories, you could still end up beating him. I'm glad Deadpool Wolverine did not win. I agree. I was very happy to see it not win. Again, I'm not a fan of Nosferatu. I was happy to see it not win. And also, that I got 4th place to Sonic and Dune. Again, both films also, I would not have ranked that high. But again, clearly there was a lot of audience that really enjoyed Sonic. And I understand it. I get it. And then a lot of people that also enjoyed Dune as well. So, but yeah, Nosferatu. Hardwick, if I tallied it up correctly, I have 179 points. There you go. Key Truth, wow, congrats on your promotion. Yeah, seriously. Congrats, Mr. Roy. Yes, Mad Lad, Mr. Roy. Dude, I love you, dude. King Rumsky, I got Nosferatu right. Yes, you did? Whoa. How? It's like, of all the ones to get right, you must have had that very low. Jimmy A. Mr. Roy is a real one for that, seriously. Mr. Roy is a legend. Are you English, Bruce? Wow, love for Sonic. Yeah, seriously, a lot of... Sonic Neon Sonic 3 is more successful than Mufasa. We have the receipts. What? Last I checked, that's not the case. Or at least that it was not tracking that way. Cthulhu, thanks again for another year, another interesting show. Always fun, especially ending on that note. Wendy Hunter, thanks for another great Ravens award. Feel better. Appreciate you. Let's start the call for the 8th Ravens and watch this show grow. Absolutely. Gary Bear Sandwich has always been so supportive of the Ravens, is always promoting it. And yeah, we'll get the 8th annual show going tomorrow. Again, be on the lookout. I'll post it on the social medias as well, and the Discord server, that if you want to start nominating films for next year, you'll have the opportunity. Yeah, smash that like button. Light the fire button on Odyssey. Smash the rumble button as well as we wrap things up. Morak, great job tonight. Thanks for putting this together. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you. T will help. Gary Banderstan with my bowling overall, it's a fix. My bowling ball is oval. It's a fix. Wayward Noodle, hail chat. Sorry for work. Sorry I was working. Well, you missed it. Hardwick, sorry, Orange Chat. I never watched Magic Society, but I knew it was the worst. But yeah, you make a good point. I mean, yeah, it's always fascinating to see where these things happen. Shorty Short, have a good evening. All Hardwick. I'm still curious to see if a woman wins Best Actress tonight, but they haven't announced that category yet. Oh, is that about a show that still doesn't matter, Hardwick? Stop trying to make it a thing. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Geek264, I still like 300 and Watchmen Final Cut. That's about it for Snyder. I think no, I don't think 300 carries as well as you think. Master of Gaming says I got 193 at 300. We'll see. I have to do my final tally. Of course, Master of Gaming. Didn't go bowling, but this was my first Ravens. Well, hey, made you say butts. Thank you for being here nonetheless. And yeah, there's always next year for the bowling. I was a little late on getting those out this year, but for those that did submit their choices, thank y'all again. So let's just recap a bit tonight. So Nosferatu won Best Movie of the Year. Rebel Moon Part 2 got Worst Film of the Year. And Deadpool Wolverine won several Raven Awards. And if you want to find out the winners, you can, of course, watch the rest of the stream. I will have the full slideshow of nominees and winners on the website, ombreviews.com tomorrow. You can still get the full list of nominees there, but I will work on getting that up sometime tomorrow, hopefully. Also, the 8th Annual Raven Awards early ballot up as well, so that way you can start the running tally of nominations. You can start to get the early, I like to call it the shortlist voting, so that way as movies come out in real time, you can, save that ballot, save that form as a bookmark, and then just go back to it every time you have a new movie or a new category that you want to specifically nominate for. So I'll try and get that one started tomorrow because that does not take a whole lot. But I do need to wrap up. Normally, I would go a little bit longer. We would do our Oscar schooling awards too. But as I said, I was not able to tally up all the numbers before the stream started, and I still have about 10 more to tally, and my voice is not going to handle it anymore. So I will get all those tallied tomorrow, and we will, again, no live stream tomorrow night. No live stream tomorrow night. Our next live stream on this channel will be the following Monday. So 7 days from tomorrow, we will have another stream, and that's when we will announce the official scores of Ravens Bowling and who will be our winners of the giveaway. So again, several 4K Steelbooks will be at stake and other Blu-rays and 4Ks there also. For those who stuck around to the very end, thank you all very much. Again, please make sure to smash the like button, light the fire button, and smash the rumble button as well on your way out. And let's say our final goodbyes. So the R, good night and God bless. Kimberly G, thanks for a fun show. Get some rest. Absolutely. Hope you all had a fun time. Sorry, it's not as pleasant as it usually is with my voice, especially being trash, but I do appreciate y'all putting up with it. Jimmy A, good night and God bless. Get well soon. Thank you for sci-fi. Good night. Raichu, looking forward to the 8th Raven Awards. Boom. Thank you. Geek64, thanks for toughing it out. Odin, I don't know of any award show tonight. Boom. That's how it should be. John Evan Bear, my older brother, thinks 300 is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, it's okay. He's clearly wrong. Super Anime Gamer, super. Gotta head out. Thanks for another great Ravens. Night all. Hope you enjoy family time. Absolutely. They'll get better soon. Good night to everyone. Good night, JS Pena. Having trouble logging in Streamlabs. We'll fix later. Cat G. I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you still for that early donation. I do appreciate that. Made to say bucks. Good night all. Get well. Odin prayers. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Carl Jacobs. Abomination. Good night, Odin. Take care of your throat. Tea with honey is on my list of things to do in the next 5 minutes. Anyway, shout out to Mr. Roy. Seriously, huge donation. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to CatG3000. Thank you, girl, for your donation on Streamlabs. Matt, HTX43. Thank you for your generous donation. And Laura, the Mother Major General story. Thank you for your very generous donation on Streamlabs as well. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'll get the March shout-outs up as soon as I can, but not too much change between the February and March numbers. So if any names are missing, that is why. But I need to go get some rest. Anyway, you guys are great. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And let's go ahead. Core member, thank you for this intro again. I will play it as a part of our outro too. But thank you for supporting the Raven Awards this evening. It was a ton of fun. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Be on the lookout for all those things I mentioned for tomorrow and for next week's show on Monday of next week for our announcement of Ravens Bowling winners. Love you guys. As always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my people on Patreon, Father Luca Illick and Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. Also to my Subscribestar people, Matt317. Check out his Twitch channel by the same name, Matt317. And lastly to my YouTube member, Mr. Roy. Shout out to you, good sir. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, check out the top link in the video description below where you get access to that. Also, you get access to a plethora of other things. You get your name listed at the end of every live stream and video, like you saw in those names that came up before this video started. And also access to a giveaways channel that I host over on the Discord server where I give away 4Ks, Steelbooks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have an exclusive podcast that I hold at least once a month, and it's always a good time, and you get extra bonus content with that also. So if any of that sounds interesting, again, check out that top link in the video description below. You guys are all amazing, and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.